ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं साधुदूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जय उदीरयेत्। श्रीमतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तनं हृद्यन्तस्त्वभद्राणि विनुनोति सुहृत्सताम्। सर्वशास्त्रादि पीयूष सर्ववैदिक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाध्य सर्वलौकिक दृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतो प्रभु कलिद्वंतोतितादित्या श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते। मद एक बंधु मत संगे मद गुरुन् मद महानदा मन निष्ठारक मन भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधु तादा इन अति नीच ताकरा हाना मुंचा कदाचिन मां प्रेम न रित कंथयोस्पुरः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Okay, so Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for joining. So we are in the 20th chapter of our fourth canto. Lord Vishnu appears in the sacrificial arena. And last class our main theme of discussion was Lord Vishnu's instructions to Prithu Maharaj. And one way we see those instructions, which were actually quite a technical section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but in that section Vishnu is actually making the point in terms of understanding the soul, the body, and in terms of this actually saying Prithu Maharaj why he should actually forgive Indra. Right? So in the previous chapter we saw what Indra did, and now, in every way Indra was wrong, Prithu was right, but now Indra had come with Vishnu, and hence here Vishnu is giving instructions. And the first thing he says, like, Indra, who has disturbed your 100 sacrifices here, so seeking forgiveness, please forgive him. Right? And then we saw that whole section where he actually talks about, like how those who are sudhiya means those who are intelligent. They are always sadhava. They are always inclined to the welfare of all living entities. And then he makes a point: they are nara uttama. They are the best of all human beings, and they are never malicious towards others. Why? Because the body is different from the soul. Right? He starts off with that, and he actually says that that you are so advanced, Prithu Maharaj. You are so advanced, and if you, with this advancement, right? If you are carried away by Maya, then what is the use of all your advancement? And we read the verse was kind of similar to Shrama eva hi kevalam, right? It is like useless labor. You have done all this spiritual practice and you're so advanced, and now if you are taking shelter of Maya or getting deviated by Maya, having a grudge against Indra, then certainly that is influence of Maya, right? And then we talked about how he talks about detachment, he talks of the super soul, the conditioned soul, the pure living entity, and the body. He talks of those differences. And then he says, one who knows this Atma and Paramatma. So, proper, like how in the section we see, just the knowledge of knowing that we are Atma is not enough. One needs to know what is Atma, what is Paramatma, what is the relationship between them. And yes, right. So that is a result of knowledge. One who knows Atma and Paramatma, then he will not be affected by the three modes of material nature. So basically, this section is saying that how knowledge of the difference between body, soul, super soul, when we get that knowledge, how that leads one to bhakti. Right. So we read this also in Prabhupada in one of the purports quote, the Bahunam Janmanam Ante was that after so many lifetimes, one who is in knowledge, he comes to a point of Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Sudhulva. It's a rare soul who takes to bhakti. So here, through the aspect of Gyan, he's actually coming to the point of devotional service. Right. And how does he come to the aspect of devotional service? And he says that question, right? We discussed that question, that how can one be aloof from the activities of the body and the senses when one is actually, because Vishnu also said that one should be a supervisor. So if you're supervising, let's say you're supervising someone, how can at the same time you be aloof from his activities? And that's where the point actually brought to bhakti. Now, how can you practically realize this? That you are supervising the activities of the senses with the sense objects, but at the same time you are aloof. That aloofness comes from, and the particular Sanskrit word that's used is Mai Baddha Saurada. Right? That one actually, when one has an intense relationship with Krishna, in that friendship, right, intense friendship with Krishna, then even though one is supervising or witnessing and supervising the activities of the senses and sense organ, he is actually aloof. What was the example Prabhupada gave? Anyone remembers? Yeah, how can one be aloof and at the same time be a supervisor? And Prabhupada gives the, yes, Gagandeep Prabhu?
You gave example of passenger in a car.
Yes, that's Prabhupada and Purport gives that example, right? So he basically says that a person, let's say someone's a chauffeur and a person who's actually owning the car, he has a driver, he knows, that okay, the car has so much gas. He is aware of like, okay, now another 20 miles and I have to get gas again. He knows that, okay, now the car has been serviced. He knows different aspects of the car, right? But what is his main focus? His main focus that even though he's sitting in his car, he's focusing on like, okay, today I have to do this business deal and then I have to talk to this person, I have to do this, and all those, he's somewhere else. Though he's sitting in the car, he's aware of the workings of the car, yet he's aloof. And that aloofness comes only when we have that connection with Krishna, because we are so connected with our senses and the body, right, due to our false ego. We are so connected that to actually remain aloof is only possible when we have that higher connection with Krishna. Right? Let's say that person who's sitting in the car, he is, just like, let's say the businessman's son or daughter is in the car. And now they have no goal. They are like, oh yeah, just for fun, I want to go in the car. Now, because they are there, there's no other focus. Then what they'll do? They'll look at this car, they'll like open the window, they're like, oh, this is how it works. And they're just fascinated just by the car because there's no goal. But when there is a connection of love with Krishna, Mai Saurida, Mai Baddha Saurida, one is actually Baddha, like, that intense connection tied up with that connection of friendship with Krishna, then he's not agitated by happiness, distress. Even though he's in the body, he's not disturbed. He's the supervisor, yet he is actually aloof from the workings of this body. And we made the point, right, how, those who are advanced souls, that, advanced elevated personalities, they, even though they are in the body, they don't they are not affected by the workings of the body, right? And we see that in like so many senior devotees traveling everywhere. They'll come from one place to another, they'll travel from India to US, and no question of jet lag. They come and immediately start doing their seva. They get up like 3 in the morning, chant their rounds, and the whole day serving, giving classes. Next day, they just keep going on. And one may say, like, if anyone, any body will, when there's a change of this, especially 12 hours difference, then certainly there must be some symptom that shows that, okay, the body is now tired or something. But they just keep going on and on, right? So even though they are in the body, they are not affected by the workings of the body because they are Mai Baddha Saurida. They have that relationship of friendship with Krishna. Right? So this is how that knowledge of Gyan, as Vishnu is saying, yes, that Gyan is possible completely only when there is actually Bhakti. Right? And that's basically the essential point of that whole aspect of Bhakti. And then the last few verses, so that's up to text 12, then 13, 14, 15, 16, he's saying, okay, in Bhakti what we should do? Just like how Krishna gave Arjuna instruction. What? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. You fight. I want you to do this. Similarly, Vishnu gives the instruction to Prithu. What is the instruction? He says, 4 instructions. He says, you do loka rakshana. You protect your citizens. You are a king. You do the duties of a king. You protect your citizens. But how you should do it? You should control your mind, control your senses while you're doing it, and then be equipoised in happiness and distress. And how can you remain equipoised? When you treat your higher, your intermediate, your higher, intermediate, and lower living entities with equality, right? With that equality, you're seeing everyone with an equal vision. So you 4 things: you protect your citizens, you control your mind senses, be equipoised with happiness, distress, and see everyone with an equal vision, higher, lower, or middle. Right? So the 4, and this is like very practical instructions for each one of us. That we can say, okay, whatever is our dharma, our duty, we do that duty. But how we should do it? Again, we should do it controlling our mind and senses, right? Then we should do it being equipoised, happiness, distress, seeing everyone with an equal vision, right? And the main point is being absorbed in Krishna. Mai Baddha Saurida. And also he gives some points that, why a king should protect his citizens. And here he says, if he does not do it, what happens? If he does it, then he gets 1/6 of the pious activity of all the citizens. That's amazing, right? You're in position of responsibility, and like if the citizens, one family comes and does some pious activity, the king gets 1/6 of the result. How amazing, right? But if the king is not giving protection, then he has no right to extract taxes. And also the other point that is there in the shloka, that he will suffer the sins what all the citizens are doing. And that's where Prabhupada actually mentions the point about the guru, the parent. Whenever there is a position of responsibility, if we are not doing a duty, we will take the sinful reaction of the dependence. But if we are doing our duty properly, then we'll get the benefit of what our dependents are doing. Right? So therefore, the role of a guru is so crucial, that the guru takes responsibility, and then if a disciple does something wrong, it comes to the guru. Right? I mean, guru at the time of initiation, he takes the karma of the disciple. Imagine. Right? He's like, this is, how Guru is so merciful that he says, okay, because you have surrendered to me, you want to take this path of bhakti, I will take away your karma, don't worry. I mean, that's what Krishna is assuring in the end of Bhagavad Gita. Guru actually takes that karma for us. Right? So responsibility of leaders. And then further he actually makes a point. How should you rule? And he actually says you should follow the principles which are anumata, which are approved by authorities, and which are received by great brahmanas, and without attachment, you do your duty. Right? And then he actually makes a point. If you do this, all citizens will love you, and then you will soon see great personalities like the Kumaras. right? And that's basically going to be the next following section, where we'll see, not next chapter, but after that, where we'll see the instructions of Sanat Kumar to Prithu Maharaj, right? And then he ends with the point, ask any benediction. And captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, guna shila yantritaha, and one cannot achieve my favor simply by sacrifices, austerities, or yoga. I'm situated neutrally in the heart, samachitta varti, of those who are equipoised, right? So basically he's saying that you have these qualities and I am very pleased with these qualities, right? Which is a section in Bhagavad Gita where we see Krishna says, with these qualities, someone who has these qualities, I am very pleased with him. Which is that section? Anyone knows?
Chapter 12.
Yes, chapter 12, right? Krishna is actually making the point. So it is not just our academic wisdom that's going to please the Lord. It is finally our bhakti that pleases the Lord. And bhakti means that bhakti is, devotional service will only come in the heart when the heart is soft-hearted. Soft-hearted means there are these qualities. And hence in chapter 12, he actually says, one who is not envious of me, is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor, is free from false ego, who is equal in happiness, distress, right? Same point. Who is tolerant, who is always satisfied, who is self-controlled, and he's engaged in devotion service with determination. That devotee is very dear to me. Right? He by whom no one is put into difficulty, who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equiposed in fear and anxiety, he is very dear to me. Who's pure, who's expert, who's without cares, who's free from all pains, he is very dear to me. So all these qualities Krishna is saying. When we have these qualities, we become very dear to Krishna. And here, what is Vishnu saying? Because Prithu Maharaj, you have these qualities. You are equipoised. You are equal to everyone. You will rule without any attachment. All these qualities are making, I'm captivated by your elevated qualities, right? So it's not just, I am like you're dear to me, but particularly the word is, I am captivated by your qualities. Right? So te aham gunashila yantrita. That word yantrita means I'm captivated, I'm controlled by your elevated qualities, and therefore varam mat kanchana. Ask a benediction from me. Whatever you like, please ask. Now we'll go to the next section. Now, why does the Lord ask the devotee to ask a benediction? Narsimadev asked Prahlad Maharaj, please ask a benediction. Now, isn't a pure devotee? I mean, imagine a devotee who's pleased the Lord, and certainly he's a pure devotee who's actually, Lord has appeared in front of him. So that devotee, what is his situation? Anyabhilasita sunya. Right? No desire. Then why does the Lord come and ask the devotees to ask for a benediction? You would like to say?
Prabhuji, couple of points would be they want to set they want to set an example, and second could be that the Lord wants them to display some quality. Again, that would be setting an example, and or also maybe the Lord knows that the devotee has some um, want or need, but they are not asking because they're elevated devotees, and the Lord somehow wants to make it happen. That's
okay. Thank you. Yes. What does Prahlad Maharaj actually... Sorry, okay, go ahead, Rohan.
I was going to say the same point, Prabhu,
also that Lord is so happy that he wants to give something to the devotee. So maybe that's.
Okay. Okay. So I think one point that Mati said, the first point, that to actually, so when the Lord asks the devotee that he's a pure devotee, so one way he doesn't need anything, he's so happy in just be engaged in bhakti that there is no higher bliss than bhakti, that even the Lord wants to come and taste the nectar of bhakti. So certainly there is no like material except like Dhruv Maharaj, right? He still had something, but when he saw the Lord he got purified. But when the Lord asks for benediction, one way he is he wants the devotee to reveal what is his inner mood of bhakti. Because see, bhakti is in that transaction, in that, I shouldn't say transaction, in that relationship, in that reciprocation between Vishnu and his devotee. And when in that reciprocation the Lord actually relishes the word. So let's say Prahlad Maharaj, right? And then Lord Narasimhadev actually came and he said, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad, he said, please ask a benediction. And Prahlad, that 9th chapter of the 7th canto, so beautiful verses, right? So beautiful verses. And one way the Lord is relishing that mood of Prahlad Maharaj. His bhakti, the Lord is tasting the bhakti of his bhakta. Right? That is one. And then the second point is, as I think you mentioned both the point. Second is when we hear what is, so we know the shloka, Anya Bhilasita Sunya. No other desire other than desire to please Krishna. But what does that really mean? And when we read the prayers of these pure devotees, then we understand, oh, this is what is the aspiration of the pure devotee. Right? So both the point. So when we are going to now read the reply of Prithu Maharaj, you'll be like, oh, that is what a devotee aspires. So even though right now I have so many material desires, but maybe I should change those desires in line with the desires of these devotees. Right? So for us as sadhakas, these prayers are benediction, are a way to understand the right mood of a pure devotee, and at the same time the Lord wants to taste the bhakti of his bhakta. Right? So these 2 points. So Lord is saying, please ask a benediction. Okay. So now Prabhupada, we didn't discuss this last in the purport. You see, text 16 in the purport, Prabhupada actually says that a devotee means he has good qualities. Right? Which is a shloka. Yasyasi bhakti bhagavate akanchana sarver gunes tatra samasate sura. All the good qualities of demigods are found in the devotee. Why? Because as we progress in bhakti, we are just coming to a natural constitutional position of our spiritual self. And the spirit self has these qualities. So our natural qualities are being revealed as we progress in bhakti. Right? So it is natural for a devotee to have. So if a devotee, if someone is claiming to be a devotee, but if these qualities are not there, then is he really a devotee? That means his bhakti is not pure or deep. Right? So Prabhupada lists 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. Before there was this is long time back, some devotee had prepared a screensaver. I don't know if people use screensavers, but before they had screensaver. And the screensaver had 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, and they had a photo of Prabhupada for each of those qualities, and they had a quote of Prabhupada where he was one way kind of, showing that quality. It was very beautiful. I used to like have it on my and so every time screensaver starts, so read, okay, quality, this is a quality of Vaishnava, and Prabhupada, how is he actually showing these 26 qualities? That's very beautiful. I don't know if I can find it again, but so what are 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, right? So Prabhupada actually first makes a point that the Lord is pleased with elevated character and behavior, right? Which comes from pure bhakti, right? And one should be fully qualified to become a pure devotee. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter number 22, text number 78 to 80, there are this list of 26 qualities. So Kripalu, Akrita Droha, Satya Sarasama, Nidosha, Vadanya, Mridu, Suchi, Akinchana. So all these qualities. So if you see in the purport of text number 16, we see Prabhupada lists these 26 qualities. One who is a Kripalu. Kripalu means he was very merciful, kind to everyone. Then Akrita Droha. Akrita Droha means one who does not quarrel with anyone. Then third, it says Satya Sara, who is thoroughly truthful. Sama, who is equal. Nidosha, he is faultless. Vadanya, he is magnanimous. Mridu, he is very mild. Suchi, he is clean. Akinchana, without any material possessions. Then Sarva Upakaraka, working for the welfare of others. Shanta, peaceful. Krishna Eka Sharana, he is exclusively surrendered to Krishna. Akama, desireless. Aniha, indifferent to material acquisitions. Then Stira, he is fixed. Vijita Sadguna, he is completely controlling the 6 bad habits: lust, anger, greed, etc. Mita Bhuka, eating only as much as required. Then Apramatta, without inebriation. Manada, respectful. Amani, without false prestige. Gambhira, he is grave. Karuna, compassionate. Maitra, friend. Kavi, poet. Right? Daksha, expert. Mauni, silent. And when we are reading this, and why did I read the whole list? Because as devotees, we need to also cultivate these qualities. So one aspect of bhakti is, yes, by progressing in bhakti, these qualities will naturally awaken. But at the same time, we have to parallelly cultivate. So if we are practicing bhakti and these qualities, we are not cultivating these qualities, then our bhakti will not be sustainable. Like it will have ups and downs in bhakti. But if we have this, we cultivate these qualities along with our bhakti, then we can progress very nicely in our devotional service. Right? So I read these qualities, and we see this list. Where do we see in Bhagavad Gita? The list of qualities. Which chapter?
16.
16, yeah, text 1 to 3, and then 13, text 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 verses. And then second chapter, who is a Sthita Pragya, right? So again and again, then again 12th chapter, when we just read, right, from 13 to 12, 20. So many places Krishna is listing the qualities of Vaishnavas. Why? Because when we read, we meditate on these qualities and we actually, make this a part of our life. Okay, this is a quality, let me meditate. How can I, be fixed in my spiritual life? How can I completely control lust, anger, greed? Mita bhuka, how can I eat only as much as required? How can I live a life sarva upakaraka, working for welfare? How can I be equal to everyone? How can I be magnanimous? Satya sar, how can I be thoroughly truthful? Right? And so on. So these are the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. And when you're reading the qualities, can you meditate on Prabhupada having these 26 qualities? Like a poet, right? Prabhupada was so expert in writing that famous episode where Prabhupada, let's see if I can remember, what is that? Absolute is sentient, thou have proved, impersonal calamity thou have removed. So Prabhupada actually wrote a Vyas Puja offering to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, and he actually said, absolute is sentient, thou have proved. You have proved how the absolute is the supreme personality, is the personality. And then impersonal calamity thou have removed. Right? So, and then when Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur saw this, he said, yes, he's understood my heart. Right? Just like how Rupa Goswami understood the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishna. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur saw this and he said like, yes, he wrote such a nice poem and he's understood my heart. And therefore he told his editor, Whatever Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Prabhupada writes, publish. No editing, nothing. Publish. Whatever he writes, publish. Right? So Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur actually said. So Prabhupada poetic, right? We also see his bhajans he wrote on Jaladuta, right? So poetic. Then also expert. Prabhupada was like expert. Imagine without like WhatsApp, without email, he actually led a worldwide movement. I mean, it's amazing, right? There's this recording in New Vrindavan that we can hear about that time temple president. He's talking to someone else, and they're almost like fighting. Prabhupada is right there, and they're like fighting right there. They say, Prabhupada, this is, and then you're complaining and back and forth. And this is just one place, New Vrindavan. How Prabhupada has centers all around the world. How did they manage a worldwide movement? You can't even imagine how someone can do that. Prabhupada is so expert. Right? And so each one of these qualities, we can see that in Srila Prabhupada. Right? Exclusive. Krishna Eka Sharana. We see in Prabhupada's bhajans. Exclusively surrendered to Krishna. Yeah. I was just remembering one of these quotes in that slideshow which I was talking about. Screensaver. Where Prabhupada says in one place, he said I don't want to paraphrase, it was very beautiful. Anyway, if I can find it, I'll share on the group. Very nice. Okay, so now we move on to the next section, which is 23 to 31, which is Prithu Maharaj's prayers to Vishnu. Very beautiful prayers. Oh, sorry. We didn't, okay, sorry, we have to still do 17 to 22. So, before we go to the prayers, 17 onwards, we will see how Prithu Maharaj, hearing all these instructions, what he experiences. So, 17 to 22 is Lord's affectionate dealings with Prithu Maharaj. And then we'll come to Prithu Maharaj's prayers. Okay? So any points so far? Any point that we discussed so far that you really liked? You want to share?
I like the point how Krishna is captivated by the good qualities of his devotees, and that when the Lord asks for a benediction from his devotees, the devotee it's to reveal the heart of bhakti.
To taste the bhakti of that bhakta. Right? Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Any points before we continue? Okay. So let's start. Text number 17.
Text 17. Maitreya uvacha saitam loka guruna vishvakshenena vishvajit anushashita adesham shirasa jagrihe harehe. Vijay Radhika Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The great Saint Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, in this way, Maharaja Prithu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on his head. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So basically here we see Maitreya is continuing and he's saying Itam Loka Guruna, that personality who is Loka Guruna, the supreme master of all people. Right? So even previous sections, what do you read? How Vishnu gives knowledge to Brahma. Right? Brahma is the first created being, and how Vishnu is giving knowledge to Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kave. So who is the Loka Guruna? The Guruna of everyone up to Brahma? That is Krishna. He is Vishwaksena. He is the personality of Godhead. Hari. He is Hari. Right? And he gave instructions. He gave Anu Shashitaha. He actually gave instructions to Prithu Maharaj. How did Prithu Maharaj, who is Vishwajit, the conqueror of the world, how did he accept these instructions? Adesham Sirasa Jagre. Sirasa Jagre means he accepted the instructions on his head. So Prabhupada says, this is how we should accept the instructions of the Lord. Right? By bowing down at the lotus feet of the Lord and taking the instructions as it is. Prabhupada wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? That's how we have to stay, as it is. As Krishna gives, the same thing. And how do we receive the instructions of Bhagavad Gita? When Krishna is directly speaking, he says, with great care and attention and with great respect. So, question for all of you. What does it mean to receive the instructions of our Shastra with great care, attention, and great respect?
Submissively.
Yes, submissively, yes. Yeah, we are accepting the submission, not in a challenging mood. Not that, oh, Krishna, you said this, but right now, my situation, you don't understand. I know, but not in a challenging mood. Submissively.
Rendering service to them.
Okay, in the mood of seva. Okay.
So follow, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah, follow. Yeah. So basically, like when we are receiving the instructions, it is not just very nice instructions, and then we don't try to follow them. So means to accept the instruction with great care and attention and great respect means to actually follow. Like, this is an instruction of the Lord. Let me see how I can transform my life to follow. That is showing respect, right? That is showing respect. Like an elderly person comes and says, "Oh, you should do this." If you are respectful, that means you'll say, "Oh, he said this, very important. Very important. I shouldn't take this instruction casually. Let me see how I can actually implement these instructions." That means great respect. Anything else? Submissively, trying to follow. And also Prabhupada makes the point that one should not amend. That means one should not make addition or alterations. That is direct disrespect to the words of Krishna. And how Prabhupada...
Sorry, Prabhuji. Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Vijaya.
Like challenging, like the whatever you were saying, Prabhuji.
Yes, challenging those instructions. Or the point that Prabhupada is actually saying, taking the message of Bhagavad Gita and making our own propaganda. And Prabhupada was so strong on this point. So like Mahatma Gandhi took Bhagavad Gita and preached what? Ahimsa. I mean, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is like telling Arjuna, fight, yuddha, fight. And Mahatma Gandhi took Bhagavad Gita to preach Ahimsa. And there's so many interpretations of Bhagavad Gita. When Prabhupada came, like how the famous thing, like Prabhupada writes in that preface of Bhagavad Gita, an American lady approached Prabhupada and said, "Which version of Bhagavad Gita should I read?" And Prabhupada said, "I don't know if there's one version which I can say to be completely authoritative." That means what? Over 600 versions of Bhagavad Gita is there. And Prabhupada is saying like, I don't know. That means what? People take Bhagavad Gita and make their own. They use the Bhagavad Gita to promote their own idea. Mahatma Gandhi used Bhagavad Gita to promote Ahimsa. And then who was the other one? I think Bhagat Singh, right? Who actually used Bhagavad Gita. Who was the other freedom fighter? Was it Bhagat Singh? I think it was Bhagat Singh. Anyway, one of our freedom fighters. He actually used Bhagavad Gita to preach what? Fight. You have to fight for that. So both of them are using Bhagavad Gita, but just to make their own purpose, right? And then also like how Prabhupada is so strong on the point that when Krishna says "Mom," and all the impersonalists say, I mean, it's very interesting. Like like weekly we have programs with this one group, and the head of the group is from Chinmaya Mission, right? And then we discuss our Bhagavad Gita, but she holds the Chinmaya Mission Bhagavad Gita. And if you see, one way the translation, like they also write verses like all over the room is like verses about Bhagavad Gita. And what verses are put on the wall? Yad karosi, yad asnasi. Whatever you do, you offer to me. And it's like Krishna is directly saying me. And what do they say? I mean, this is so clear. Krishna is saying Mom, he's saying me. He's pointing out Man mana bhava mad bhakto. 6 times me, he's using that verse. And I always wonder, like, so clear, they're putting up on their walls that do this for me. But what is their understanding? Their understanding, me means the unborn within you. That unborn within us, that is the same me. Krishna and that me is the same. Right? I mean, it's like, how can someone even, like, for us it's like, it's like, because we read so clear Prabhupada's understanding of Bhagavad, it's like it doesn't make any sense. How can someone say, someone is speaking and saying me, and you're saying that me is not that person who's speaking, that me is me, I. It's like it doesn't make any sense. And that's the Prabhupada, that's why he was so strong on the impersonalist and Mayavadi, saying that, it's so clear, and you're taking the clear instructions and you're actually changing it. I mean, the same with Mahaprabhu and Sarva Bhattacharya, right? Sarva Bhattacharya, for 7 days he spoke on Vedanta. And then at the end he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like, do you really understand? You're not saying anything. And what is the first thing Mahaprabhu says? Mahaprabhu says, the knowledge is as clear as the sun. But your explanations are like the clouds covering the sun. So, that's what. So, that's the thing. Like, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So, to show great care, attention, great respect is to follow the message as it is. And you can follow that as it is. How do you know it is as it is? How do you know a message is as it is? On what authority does Prabhupada write on the front cover, Bhagavad Gita as it is? It is his own authority that I am pure, hence I am writing.
From the discipline succession.
Discipline.
Unbroken discipline.
The point is that of discipline. Hence Prabhupada here says that the way to receive knowledge is through disciplic succession. And that actually makes the point how this knowledge is as it is. It has come from an unbroken chain of spiritual masters coming down from Krishna down to Srila Prabhupada. That makes it as it is. Right? So great care, great attention, great respect. And Pritamara said, bowing down his head to the lotus feet, he said, yes, I will accept it. Next, 18.
Just a question on this.
Yeah.
So, is it okay to present our challenges or difficulties in following those instructions? Like we see in Bhagavad Gita also, Arjuna, presents the challenges or difficulties that in following the instructions.
Yeah. So is it like the mood is really important, So even though Krishna talks of Dhyana Yoga and Arjuna says, I cannot do it. I mean, what are you talking? Chanchala Mana Krishna, right? My mind is so fickle. I cannot do it. So that is he being challenging? He's just being honest that, Krishna, you told me this system. I don't think I can follow it. And Krishna says, okay, that anyway is not for you. And then he comes to the point of bhakti. And then when, Krishna is saying, okay, let's say which example you can take. End of second chapter itself, you can say. Last shloka was Krishna saying, therefore, with this knowledge, you stand and fight. And he's giving direct instructions, fight. But Arjuna is not convinced. Therefore, he says, can you tell me, you talked of Sankhya, you talked of Buddhi Yoga, which is better? Right? So one way, it is more of clarification and being honest, rather than having that challenging mood.
Yeah.
And a guru may give us certain instruction, and we can just be honest. Guru Maharaj, this instruction, I know this is the best thing for me, but I have to admit, I have all these attachments, I have these anarthas, and I take your instruction on my head, and I pray by your blessings at some point in my life I'll be able to do it, but right now I am not. I'm not as surrendered to actually follow the instructions. We are just being honest. So being honest, being clarifying, but it's not as much as challenging. Guru Maharaj, you said this, but I think this is better than that would be challenging. And Arjuna is not doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. 18.
Sprishantam padayo premna vriditam sena karmana shatakratum parishvajya vidveshvam visasarjaha.
Hare Krishna. As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. But Prithu Maharaja immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. Hare Krishna.
So here we see, so it says like Shatakritu. We hear this word, we read this word before. Shatakritu is Indra, the one who has performed 100 horse sacrifices. So Shatakritu, and we read in the starting of the chapter that he came with Vishnu, right? And we read that certain instructions that even though Vishnu was given to Prithu, they are meant for whom? Indra. Right? Indra was standing right there and he's hearing all these certain instructions. Verses were actually for Indra. And Prithu was already like a pure devotee. So he, when he's talking on the body, soul, all those things, you can see like it's for Indra, right? So Indra is standing right there. Then what happened? Sprashantam padayo, touching the feet, vriditam svena kamana. He was ashamed of his own activities, right? So what did Indra do? Indra realized, oh, all these instructions, he's hearing everything, and now he's like, oh, I made a mistake. And hence he became ashamed of his own. What did I do? What did I do? And then, what did he do after that? Sprashantam padayo. He fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. How did Prithu Maharaj respond? He says, Premna, who was in ecstasy, Paris Vajja Vidvesham Visarsarja. Prithu embraced Indra. Right? He immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy. Now this word is used as envy. If you see the word to word, does it say envy? Vidvesham, it says, Vidvesham. Okay. Gave up all envy against him, and that's it, right? So this is how Prithu has responded. Now, the reason I was checking about that point of, anyway. So let's come to the purport. That will clarify the point. So Prabhupada actually makes a point that, there are many cases where this happens. One person may offend a Vaishnava and later become repentant. What are the examples in Shastra where we see this? A offends B and then afterwards becomes repentant.
Stringy and Stringy's father repents of Stringy's curse to Parikshit Maharaj.
Okay. Yeah, his father is repenting, right?
Yeah,
So
his
his
father.
father didn't make a mistake, but yes, okay.
Durvasa Muni.
Yeah, Durvasa Muni, Ambarish, right?
Yeah.
After Durvasa Muni repented, what did I do? Right? What else? Any examples? Think
Even
Chaitanya? Yeah.
even Nalakuvera, Manigriva, after their curse, they fall at Narada's feet.
Yeah.
The Kumaras.
Oh, the four Kumaras and Jai Vijay?
Yes.
Okay, four Kumaras, Jai Vijay. Okay. Yeah, there was certainly repentance there. Yes. I mean, even we can take Parikshit Maharaj, right? He did that act, putting the snake, right? And then after that, what was his reaction? He went back and immediately he was repenting. Oh, how did I do? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? So Prabhupada says that there are many cases where someone may offend a Vaishnava, but then afterwards he becomes repentant. Right? So here we have an example of Indra. He's making an offense and then now he is repenting. Now, Prabhupada makes a point. An offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is never excused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, the Vaishnava himself does not take an offense. When Durvasa Muni came back after 1 year of traveling, going to Vishnu, talking to Vishnu, he came back to Ambarish. And what does he do? He comes to Ambarish Maharaj and says, oh, please forgive me. What was Ambarish Maharaj's reaction? He actually said, I didn't even take any offense. What are you asking forgiveness for? You are such a guest sage. Why are you asking forgiveness from me? So mood of Vaishnava is a Vaishnava does not take offense. Because he is, he's so humble. He's like, I'm not even a Vaishnava. Oh, what you have done, actually, that's what I deserve. That's the mood of a Vaishnava. But Krishna does not tolerate an offense. Krishna sees, oh, you offended this Vaishnava. He's so dear to me. How could you say? And Krishna does not tolerate that. And Prabhupada in the purport talks of Ambarish and Durvasa Muni. And here he says, but the king was so magnanimous of Vaishnava that he did not want Indra to fall down. So Indra is falling down at Prithu Maharaj's feet and saying, oh, please forgive me. And then Prithu Maharaj, just you can visualize the scene. He's falling at the feet, and Prithu Maharaj, instead of like allowing Indra to touch his feet, he's like lifting him and embracing him. Oh, Indra, I have no envy for you. Like, you are, So it's like immediately, and both of them forgot all past sins. Immediately forgot. I mean, is it easy to forget? When something happens, our mind gets hooked on. And even though we're like, oh, it's not right, or whatever, like, our mind gets like caught up and we keep thinking, how could do that? How could do that? Right? So here, immediately he picked up and he embraced. Both of them forgot. And so this is also a first-class example of cooperative behavior between Vaishnavas. Right? So Prabhupada says so nicely that this is an example how we should have that mood of cooperation. We understand we are all sadhakas and we make mistakes. Isn't it? Anyone here who does not make mistakes? Maybe everyone who's behind the cameras, because we cannot see you. So we can say you all do not make mistakes. So this is also, so Prabhupada says, this is a mood. So yeah, we are all sadhakas, we make mistakes. But once we make mistake, then we should repent. We should come to the Vaishnava and say, I'm really sorry I made this mistake, fall at the feet and beg the Vaishnava, oh, please forgive me, please forgive me. So Prabhupada says, however, because people are not Vaishnavas, they fight perpetually among one another and are vanquished without finishing the mission. So whole life they are just going on fighting, and then without progressing in the spiritual life, they just keep fighting. There is a great need to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement in the world, so that even though people sometimes become angry and malicious towards one another because of their being Krishna conscious, such rivalry, competition and envy can be adjusted without difficulty. Such a nice point. Last sentence of purport. Prabhupada says what? He says, yes, there will be, even in an ISKCON society, are there conflicts? Are there disagreements? Yes? Yes, if you attend, I'm not attended, but any of the, you come to like, as soon as you go to like any of the GBC meeting, like, it's what I've heard. And there's like so much, like yesterday, Mother Kamalini was saying, giving this example of like, in GBC meeting, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Badrinayan Maharaj, they were there, and like, how there was like heated argument. So is it there? Yes, it will happen. Everyone has different opinions and also understanding of what is Prabhupada's instructions for us. Like, there is variety. And the spiritual world is full of variety. There will be differences. But what is Prabhupada's main point? There is a great need to propagate Krishna consciousness. Right? So imagine that, like, let's say a group of people, they are at war with someone else. Now, there is a need, there is someone fighting us. Now, if there are disagreements, will we fight among ourselves? Or will we face the war which is in front of us, the other camp? So Prabhupada is saying there is a great need to fight Maya. If we fight amongst ourselves, yes, there will be disagreement, but to see the higher principle, that because being Krishna conscious, such rivalry, competition and envy can be adjusted without difficulty. So mood of a Vaishnava is seeing Krishna as a center. Because of being that Krishna conscious, they'll say, okay, higher priority is what is best to propagate this Krishna consciousness. I am wrong, okay, I am wrong. Okay, even though I am right, but if the other person is not adjusting, but I will see what is best for Krishna consciousness movement, and maybe I will just say, okay, I know this is the best way to do it, but because you are so adamant, we will do this way, but we'll maintain the mood of cooperation. And hence Prabhupada at the end of his life, what was his instruction? You show your love for me by cooperating. Right? Giriraj Swami Maharaj actually said, by following 16 rounds, by chanting Hare Krishna every day. Right? And Prabhupada didn't say no to all this, but then he said, by cooperating with each other. That's how we'll please. So, as long as the mode of cooperation is the highest principle that you're following, that for propagating Krishna consciousness, what is that? How can we cooperate together? Then Prabhupada is pleased. So, that's the main point here. Okay, 19.
So how do we understand, Prabhu, that Prithu Maharaj is envious? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing. That's what I wasn't clear. Like I was, because I was seeing. I think it is Jiva Goswami who actually makes a point as enmity rather than
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's what I was making the point of. Like, yes, enmity was there, but we cannot say that Prithu Maharaj was envious. Right?
In the purport, Prabhupada says both King Indra and Maharaj
Yeah.
Prithu were envious and angry with each other.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just that, like you said, like even among devotees, there can be disagreements and kind of.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But was Prithu envious? I mean, he wasn't like envious of Indra's position. He didn't even care for Indra's position, right? Indra for sure was envious. Yeah. That's why that word envy, like I was also not clear, why the word envy is used. But again, I think your point that why Prabhupada is explaining with a practical aspect of like there is a great need to propagate Krishna consciousness movement. So even though both parties there is envy, we have to see the higher principle, and that's the main point here.
Hmm.
Next.
Prabhuji, is it that they're saying both King Indra and Maharaj Prithu were envious and angry at each other? So Indra is envious, but Prithu is angry. I read it. I mean, could be like that because that then justifies.
Yeah, that's very nice. So that would be a nice way of saying King Indra is envious and Maharaj Prithu is angry. That would be nice.
Yeah,
But
because
Prabhupada-
there is no reason for Prithu Maharaj to
Yeah,
be envious because
envious. Yes.
he is
didn't
the
even
Lord
care.
himself and he has everything. He's not doing the Ashwamedha Yajna
Yeah,
to become Indra.
he
That's
doesn't
a
even
lower
care.
position for him.
He doesn't even care. Like, oh, Indra 100. I don't even care. Like, I don't want to take that position. Yeah. So yes, I think that's a nice way of saying Indra was envious and Prithu was angry. So we'll go with that. Okay, thank you. Okay, next 19.
Bhagavanata Vishvatma Prituno Paritarhana Samujihanaya Bhaktya Grihita Charanambujaha.
Hare Krishna. King Prithu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was so merciful to him. While worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Prithu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service.
So this is like how, so Atha thereupon, so already the Indra and Prithu, that's already done. Indra falls at the feet and Prithu does not allow him, he just like holds him, embraces him, that's over. Now, coming back to Prithu and Vishnu, right? So Atha thereafter, Bhagwan Vishwatma, that Supreme Personality of the Super Soul, Uparita Prithuna was abundantly worshipped by Prithu, right? So after he received the instructions, he was abundantly worshipped. And Grihita Charana Ambujam, while worshipping the feet of the Lord, Sambhu Jahane Bhaktya. Bhakti gradually increased in ecstasy. And this is what Prabhupada talks about, this mood of ecstasy. Right? He says, so Prabhupada may, when various ecstasy appears in the body of a devotee, it should be understood that his devotional service has become perfect. So what stage of bhakti is this? What stage of bhakti is this?
Bhava.
Bhava Bhakti. Right? Bhava Bhakti is symptom, and Nectar of Devotion says Bhava Bhakti is symptomized by these signs of ecstasy. And then there are 8 different signs of ecstasy. And Prabhupada here refers to Chaitanya Charitamrita Ante Leela, 14th chapter, text 99, which actually says Prabhura Anga Dekhi Ashta Satvika Vikar. Prabhura Anga Dekhi. Seeing Mahaprabhu with Ashta Satvika Vikar. 8 of these transformations. Asharya Satvika Dekhi Hoilo Chamatkar. Asharya. Right? Translated. All 8 kinds of transcendental transformations were visible in the Lord's body. All the devotees were struck with wonder with such a sight. Right? Hoilo chamatkar, they were all struck. Mahaprabhu. And we see this like when Mahaprabhu was going in South India tour. I mean, everyone just seeing Mahaprabhu, they were like, wow, we have never seen such kind of transformation before. And that's how they were actually getting transformed. They're like, only Krishna, like even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when Mahaprabhu fell unconscious and he put that cotton swab in front of the nostril of Mahaprabhu, and it was slight movement was like, and you said, like, how is it possible? That kind of symptom is not possible in any ordinary person. Right? It's not possible in your, and throughout in South India tour, just by seeing even the example of Venkata Bhatta, when he saw Mahaprabhu dancing in Srirangam temple, he was like, who is this? I've never seen someone have this level of ecstasy. This level of ecstasy. So Ashta Satvika, so the Ashta Satvika Vihar, Prabhu's Anga dekhi, Ashta Satvika Vihar, Ashtarya Satvika dekhi, Hoilo Chamatkar. Everyone were Chamatkar. What is this wonder? Seeing those ecstasies in the body of Mahaprabhu. I mean, we see how Mahaprabhu's ecstasy, like, we cannot even cannot describe Mahaprabhu's ecstasy. Right? There is a story of in Chaitanya Bhagavat that, in the last 12 years, last 18 years of Mahaprabhu's pastimes, right? It's described that once the devotees were looking, where is Mahaprabhu? And they saw that the animals, like cows and other animals, were actually somewhere and they were licking something. So they were all together and they were licking. And then all the devotees were like, what is this? And they were searching for Mahaprabhu. And they came and they saw Mahaprabhu has shrunk to the size of a tortoise. And because all these devotees were actually naturally attracted to Mahaprabhu, they were actually licking that like tortoise like body of. We cannot understand Mahaprabhu's ecstasy. And sometimes his body would become so elongated, that between the joints it was like, there was like, the body in between the joints, like so long, sometimes so short. I mean, that is the ecstasies of Mahaprabhu. So this kind of ecstasy has never ever been seen before. But here, Prabhupada lists in the purport, he says the 8 ecstatic symptoms are being stunned, perspiration, right? Standing of the body hairs on end, faltering of the voice. We see in Mahaprabhu, when he saw Jagannath in front of Rath Yatra, what does Chaitanya Charitamrita say? He was like, he couldn't even speak Jagannath. He couldn't say. His voice was faltering. He just say Jaga, that's it. Right? And then trembling, right? Fading of body's colors, tears, devastation. And all these symptoms were on Mahaprabhu's body. Right? So now, why is Prabhupada talking? Because these symptoms of ecstasy were actually appeared in the body of Prithu Maharaj. But Prabhupada makes a point, never to be imitated. Right? Never to be imitated. There is a story of forgetting who, but Mahaprabhu's associates, and I think the Goswamis, forgetting who, but anyway, they were having Bhagavad Katha, right? And then in that Bhagavad Katha, everyone was crying. Because it was like they were reading Bhagavatam and everyone is crying. And then one neophyte Bhakta came and he looked around and he said like, wow, everyone is crying except for me. So what do you do? He said, even I have to cry. So he said like, how can I cry? So he saw nearby there was some chili powder. He put like a little bit chili powder in his eye and started crying. And then afterwards, the speaker of Bhagavatam, he said like, it is said that when you're hearing Bhagavatam, if you don't cry ecstasy, tears of ecstasy, then your eyes are useless. You should hurt your eyes. I've heard that before, but I saw only you are actually doing it because you put chili powder in your ears. Whenever you're crying, you're hurting your eyes. So we cannot imitate these symptoms of ecstasy, right? Cut an onion and you start crying and like, oh, prema, bhava. We cannot imitate, right? So therefore, in the Nectar of Devotion, what does Rupa Goswami say? What is really the way you can identify Bhava Bhakti? Who knows? Please say. Rohinathan Prabhu knows.
Not all the symptoms. Avyartha Kalatvam, Shantir,
Yes.
yeah, all
Nama
those.
Gane Sada Ruchi, Krishna Tad Vasati Sale. Like, so 9 symptoms he gives, starting Virakti, detachment, right? Nama Gane Sada Ruchi, always like to speak about Krishna, right? And then Krishna Tad Vasati is like, he just wants to be in Vrindavan, right? Vrindavan Mayapur, right? Then Avyartha Kalatam, he does not even waste a moment not engaging Krishna. So these 9 symptoms are given, and these are the symptoms that immediately after discussing the Sattvika, we have Ashta Sattvika symptoms, then Rupa Goswami lists these 9 and say like these 9 should be used to actually say if someone is really at the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Right? So main point, it's not, they are never to be imitated. Okay. Yes, and then text number 20.
Prasthanabhimuko yenam anugraha vilambitah pashyan padmapala shaksho na pratashte surit satam.
So just one reference. Where are these 9 given? Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, chapter number 23, text 18, 19. Right? So Madhya 23, 18, 19, where it says Shantir, Avyartha Kalata, Viraktir, Manya Shunyata, Asha Bandha, Samutkantha, Namgane Sadaruchi. Asaktit, Ashaktis Tad Gunakhyane, Pritis Tad Vasati Stale, Iti Adyo, Anubhava, Sur Jata, Bhavanukure Jane. Right? So these are symptoms of Bhava. Right? So, yeah. So Shanti, forgiveness, Avyartha Kalam, being free from wasting time, Viraktir, detachment, Mana Sunyata, absence of false prestige, Asha Bandha, hope, Samutkanta, eagerness, Namagane, chanting the holy name, Sada Ruchi, always having the taste, Ashakti, attachment, right, to Krishna, Gunakhyani, to speak about Krishna's qualities, Priti, affection, Vasati Sale, Priti Tad Vasati Sale, to affection for the holy places of pilgrimage. Right, so these are the symptoms. Okay, now text 20. Yeah, translation.
Rohini Nandan Prabhu.
Yes. Text 19, right, Mother?
20.
The Lord was just about to leave, but because he was so greatly inclined towards the behavior of King Prithu, he did not depart. Seeing the behavior of Maharaj Prithu with his lotus eyes, he was detained because he is always the well-wisher of his devotees. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So here, so basically here it says prasthana. Prasthana means to leave, right? Abhimukha, ready. The Lord was like, okay, I gave instructions, and then Indra is forgiven, Prithum, Indra, now they are okay. So now it's for me to leave, right? So Api, although the Lord was ready, Prasthan, he was ready to leave, Anugraha Vilambita. Out of Anugraha, out of kindness, he could not leave, right? And then further it says, Pashyam Padma Palasha Akshaha. The Lord who has Padma Palasha, his eyes are like petals of a lotus flower. Na Pratsa, he did not leave. Why? Surit Satam. Right? Which is the other verse which says Surit Satam? Surit Satam.
Nashtaprayasha Pratish.
Nashtaprayasha Vadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
No,
Bhaktir
no. Yeah, not that. It's maybe Srinvatam, sorry.
Shrinatam Sakatha Krishna Punya Shravanam Krishna Hridayanta Abhagani Vidunoti Surit Satam. Yes. Surit Satam. So that Srinvatam Sakatha. Surit Satam. He's always well-wisher of his devotees. So here Prabhupada says in purport, he says the words Surit Satam are very significant. The Lord is always very much inclined to his devotees. So Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me deshosina priya, ye bhajanti yamam bhaktya mai teshishu chapyaham. Right? I'm not partial to anyone, I'm equal to all, but whoever renders service in devotion to me is in me. Mai teshishu chapyaham. They are in me, and I am always in them. Right? And also from 9th canto, the verse, right, in that Ambarish Maharaj episode, right, it says, Sadhavo hridayam mayam, sadhunam hridayam tvaam, mad anyatena janati, naham tebhyo managapi. Right? Sadhavo hridaya mayam. The pure devotees are always within the core of my heart. And then sadhunam hridayam tvaam, I am in the heart of the pure devotees. Right? My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. Right? So this is that we see that loving attachment. Right? We see that even in the material world, even though there's this reflection of love, when there's love, it's like, like a mother and child. Right? And then it's like the child has to go, and then, let's say the mother has to leave, and the mother is like, oh, I have to go, but I don't want to go because that's love. Similarly, the Lord here, Lord is transcendental relationship, but the Lord here is like, oh, I have to go, but I'm so captivated with your love that I cannot go. And Prabhupada here also says, Tesham Sata, those constantly engaged in bhakti, how does the Lord reciprocate? He gives the knowledge from within. Devotee can realize, he's always in everyone's heart, but only the devotee can realize the Lord's presence. And thus he is directly connected. He takes instruction from the Lord at every moment. Imagine. Right? So recently someone was saying, like, Friday, that, how Krishna gave direct instructions to Arjun. How can we get direct instructions? And here it's saying, practice bhakti, Krishna will give you direct instructions from him. Right? The famous episode where reporter asking Prabhupada, how do you know who to appoint for what position? Who will be the next, like who's the leaders and so on, GBC, etc., etc. What did Prabhupada say? Krishna tells me. And the reporter was like, what are they talking about? And then the Prabhupada's disciple, he said, that was too much for the reporter. So the disciple said, when Prabhupada says Krishna tells me, that means that Krishna, through the instructions of his books, he actually is revealed, through the books. But Prabhupada looked at the disciple and said, like, what are you saying? No, Krishna tells me, and hence it was like amazing. So yes, for the pure devotees here, Prabhupada is saying, thus he is directly connected, takes instructions from the Lord at every moment. Therefore, there is no chance of a devotee being in error. Right? No chance of a devotee being in error, nor there is. So, how do you understand a devotee is no chance of a devotee being in error? How do you understand this?
Like spiritually, he'll never make an error on the spiritual platform.
Yeah. On the spiritual platform, there is no error, right? With our material calculations, we may see that, this is so and so that is said, which is not accurate. But from the spiritual platform, there is no. Because even materially, something may be a little bit off here and there, but because everything is done in service to Krishna, it is always eternal. And hence, because it's eternal, there can be no fault in it. With our external perspective, with our material calculation, we may say, that was a fault. But because his entire life is dedicated to service, that is the main point. And hence it is always no chance of devotees being in error. Okay, 21.
Prabhuji, like sometimes there will be failures, right? Like even in Prabhupada case, the Jansi he was not succeeded. So that here how do we understand that in this perspective? There is no error in it.
Yeah. See, that's the point. Like, see, Prabhupada's service to Krishna Like even that episode of Jhansi, was there any lacking in devotion in Prabhupada's service to Krishna?
No.
It cannot be.
Yeah.
So hence his service is perfect. Now because Prabhupada's service is perfect, now what happened in Jhansi was Krishna's plan there. It wasn't the devotee's fault. Because if that would have been successful, then maybe Prabhupada would not come to the West.
Correct, yeah.
Right? So from devotee side, his devotion is perfect. But the Lord may actually do something in such a way. Sometimes also the Lord may do something to test the disciple. The Lord may make the devotee say something which may appear incorrect to actually test the disciple's faith in Guru. Because it's, is it the disciple's faith that, oh, my Guru Maharaj, like sometimes we hear Prabhupada quote a shloka. Right? If you actually see even the Jai Radha Madhava I play in the starting, right? Prabhupada says what? Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. And then he starts with the third line, right? And then comes back to the second line. Right? Now someone may say a mistake. And even like sometimes Prabhupada is quoting a shloka. And sometimes he says I cannot remember the shloka right now. And he's a pure devotee. Someone may say, oh, fault. Like his name Bhakti Vaibhava Maharaj, he was like, heard so much of Prabhupada. And then finally he got to see Prabhupada. He didn't see Prabhupada. He saw a photo of Prabhupada. And then he saw like, oh, Prabhupada is wearing glasses. Glasses means imperfect vision. How can a pure devotee have imperfect vision? Then he's like us. He's like, no, that's not the point. That's not the point. That is our limitation in seeing that, oh, pure devotee has fault. The pure devotee, his devotion to Krishna is perfect. That's what we need to see. So the 9 symptoms, what we talked about, avyartha kalotam, nama ganesa, those are symptoms by which we... So, was Prabhupada avyartha kalotam when he was in Jhansi? Yes. Right? All those symptoms were perfect in him. So that's how we see. From material calculation, like maybe devotee do certain project. They say, oh, we'll build this temple here. And then it does not work out. Material failure, but spiritually it is always perfect. And Krishna may make that happen in such a way so that, he's either like, for Krishna may make that happen to test the disciple, or sometimes he may do that so that there is some service for the disciple to serve the Guru. So it is the devotee's mercy to actually give an opportunity for the disciple to serve. And maybe in that, sometimes the Guru Maharaj, like, weren't we discussing when Adigyara Prabhu was here, that about that episode of Ishwar Puri coming to Mahaprabhu and saying, Mahaprabhu, please correct my writing. And what did Mahaprabhu say? What you are writing is perfect. How can I correct yours? It's the writing of a pure devotee. A pure devotee, whatever he says is perfect. Right? But still, Ishwar Puri said, no, I want you. You are so expert in grammar, I want you to correct. And then Mahaprabhu actually said, okay, I will do it. And he said, use this, you use this verb here. I think it should be like this. And Ishwar Puri said, I'll think about it. And he came the next day, he said, I thought about it, but I think what I've said is correct. And Mahaprabhu, did he go against the Guru? He said, no, you gave me a seva. Whatever devotee says is perfect, but you gave me a seva. Hence I did it. But Ishwar Puri said, I think it's correct. And Mahaprabhu said, yes, whatever you say is perfect. So similarly, like Prabhupada's books, like why is there some editing of, because maybe grammatically there were some mistakes, and like maybe disciples itself, when they were hearing the recording, while they were transcribing, they made some mistakes. Now they're going back, they're correcting this, right? They're correcting. And Prabhupada said, make my books in such a way that, if people find like grammatical mistakes, then people will be like, what kind of writing is it? They won't give respect to the book. Correct. But Prabhupada is perfect. But he's giving an opportunity to the disciples to serve him in that way. So that's how we should see. Right? So even the material failure, so-called failure, like let's say, devotee is like building a big project, but somehow it fails. But the endeavor, the intention is all pure, hence it's perfect. So that's how we see. Okay.
Very much.
Okay. So 21.
स आदिराजो रचिताञ्जलिर्हरिं विलोकितुं नाशकलश्रुलोचनः न किञ्चनोवाच स बाष्पविक्लवो हृदोपगूयामुमधाद् अवस्थितः.
Hare Krishna 4:20-21. The original king, Maharaj Prithu, his eyes full of tears and his voice flattering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing in that way with folded hands. Hare Krishna.
So basically here is describing that ecstasy of Prithu Maharaj. Here it says the extraordinary bhakti of Prithu Maharaj is described here. So it says Sa Adi Raja. Why Adi Raja? And Prabhupada here, the entire first paragraph of purport is talking of Adi Raja. He is the original king. Rachita Anjali, he was standing with folded hands. So Prabhupada says that not only Prithu, why is he known as Adi Raja? Because he is the empowered incarnation of the Lord. He was a great devotee, at the same time a great king, right? And he conquered all undesirable elements in his kingdom, right? And also here Prabhupada talks about like how duty of a king to engage his citizens in God consciousness, right? The greatest calamity in life is to become godless and therefore become sinful. The king's responsibility, right, to make sure that there is no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. I mean, when we read all this, it's like, what is our current government? It is like the opposite, encouraging all sinful activities. Right? So it's like completely, this is a real Kali. So that is Adi Raja, and he observed all the principles for ruling. Now let's come to the verse. So that is Adi Raja. Then further it says, the main theme is here, Harim Vilokitam. He wanted to look upon the Lord. The Lord he cannot leave out of affection. And Prithu wanted to look upon the Lord, but na ashakta. He was not able to see the Lord. Why? So many tears flowing from his eyes. Ashru lochana. Because of the tears, he cannot see. Like you're crying so much, like you can see clearly. Then he kinchan uvacha. He wanted to say something, but bhasma viklava. His voice was choked up. That's like how we gave Mahaprabhu's example. He couldn't say Jagannath. And here also he wanted to say something to the Lord, but voice wouldn't come with so much ecstasy. Right? Then Rida Upaguya Amu Adat Avastitaha. He remained standing and he embraced the Lord within his heart. Where did we read this before? Embracing the Lord within the heart.
Queens of Dwarka.
Yeah.
They embrace the Lord in the heart and they send the children to embrace their father.
Yes, they send the children to embrace and then they embrace the Lord within the heart. So here he's embracing because he's like, his eyes like cannot see because so many tears. He cannot speak. He's like almost like in that state of ecstasy. He said, okay, embrace the Lord in the heart. And standing with folded hands. Right? Okay. And further, so here Prabhupada says that how a king can become the pure devotee of the first order. He became ecstatic externally, internally. And then, if you see the next part of the purpose is so interesting. Just today we have seen in the newspapers of Bombay that the government is going to repeal its prohibition laws. Ever since Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, government has been kept dry and not allowed the citizens to drink. But unfortunately, so basically here Prabhupada is talking of see if you see Prabhupada's mood. I mean here the whole verse is focusing on what? The ecstasy of Prithu Maharaj. But because that is the current situation of current political thing, Prabhupada brings in Bhagavatam to explain that situation. The duty of a king. And he says like how in Bombay, they had stopped liquor, but then people started, so clever, they started, getting liquor by illegal means, and government had to say, okay, now here, take liquor legally. Right? Take legal. So government has failed to change the hearts of the people. And that's what Prabhupada is focusing. That, this government does not want people to have liquor. I mean, now government wants people to have drinks, but a good government does not want people to drink. But how will that happen? By changing the heart. And how will the heart transformation take place? By bhakti, by Krishna consciousness. So hence Prabhupada says that is the whole solution. Right? So, this Krishna conscious movement is meant to make people pure and perfect. So he quotes, Nashta Prayasho Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata. The Srimad Bhagavatam, it will destroy all the abhadras in the heart. Right? So therefore, this can be made possible simply by distributing Srimad Bhagavatam, by broadcasting the pure message of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So we have to distribute. Let everyone get access to Srimad Bhagavatam. Then there will be transformation. Then things will change. Otherwise, just implementing hard laws will not work. Okay, text 22.
अथावमिज्य श्रुकलाविलोकयन् अतृप्तदृग्गोचरमाह पूरुषं पदास्पृशन्तं क्षितिमंश उन्नते विन्यस्तहस्ताग्रमुरङ्गविद्विषः.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground, while he rested the front of his head on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaja Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus the king offered the following prayers. Hare Krishna.
So sweet interaction, right? So Prithu is like, wants to see the Lord, but tears are flowing. He wants to say something, but his voice is choked up. And he's embracing the Lord. And how is the Lord feeling? This is so beautiful. Here it says, so first it says, Atha avrimrijya ashru kala, so wiping the tears in his eyes. Right? And vilokayan atripta driggochara. He was observing the Lord, but he was not satisfied. He wanted to take so much darshan of the Lord. Right? We saw this where? In the third canto. Some darshan and the person was not satisfied.
Dhruv Maharaj.
Okay, Dhruv Maharaj.
In the 4th Kumara's chapter,
Yes, that's what I was thinking. In the third canto, 4th Kumara, they see the Lord and then they look at the lotus feet, then they go up. Again, they look at the lotus feet, again they go. They cannot stop doing it. They're like, every part is so religious, so beautiful that we cannot be satisfied. So here Prithu Maharaj also not satisfied. He wants to see the Lord, but it's like, oh, I cannot relish. He's so beautiful that I cannot really relish that form. And therefore, that ecstasy, that overflow of those emotions comes in the form of prayers. So so prayers of these pure devotees is what? It is the overflow of that emotional bhakti sentiments. That is being expressed in words. You know? And then how is Krishna feeling right now? So yes, it says Purusham Padas Prishnatam. Supreme Personality of the lotus feet, just touching the ground, shitting. Amshe Unnate Uranga Vidvisha, on the raised shoulder of Garuda. Vinyasa Hasta, rested friend. So Prabhupada explains this point in the purport. He says, normally when demigods come down, they don't touch the earth. They have weightlessness. Right? Even Yudhishthira Maharaj said he never touched the earth. It's like above. Like even, like how we hear Prabhupada's disciples, like they tell the story. Like they were going for a morning walk and it was all very muddy. And then by the time everyone came back, all the shoes were all muddy. So the disciple thought that, Prabhupada's shoes I should go and clean because they become so muddy. And she sees the back of Prabhupada's feet, like no mud at all. Everyone's shoes is covered with layers of mud. Prabhupada's shoes clean. And she's like, how is it? Prabhupada was not even touching the ground. That's how. Right, so this, so Prabhupada is saying they're great personalities. When they're walking, they're not really even touching the ground. They have the weightlessness, and that's the proof that even Prabhupada when he's walking, he's not really touching the ground. So Prabhupada makes the point. So demigods, when they come, they do not touch the ground. Now Vishnu, the Lord, is also one way of playing the demigod. Right, one way he has a cap of a demigod also as the one who actually maintains, right? Creator, maintainer. So in that position, he came and he was not touching the ground. But now, out of his symptom of ecstasy, he is touching the ground. So it is explained so nicely that he's on weightlessness, he's not touching the ground, but out of ecstasy he is falling, and he's keeping one of his hands on Garuda to support himself from falling, because he's feeling so much ecstasy for his devotees that he cannot even stand anymore. So hence is described here that what did he do? On the raised shoulder of Garuda, he rested the front of his hand. Why? Because he's falling in ecstasy. Just like Mahaprabhu, he falls in ecstasy, right? That famous pastime where when Mother Sachi sees Mahaprabhu falling, and she's like, "Oh, Mahaprabhu is falling, feeling so much pain." And he said, Gadadhar, right? He said, Gadadhar, that you always be with Mahaprabhu. Whenever he falls, you support him, because I cannot bear to see Mahaprabhu falling on the ground. So here Vishnu was out of ecstasy falling on the ground, and he's taking support of Garuda and saying, okay, I'll stand. So from both sides, the devotee side and Vishnu side, ecstasy, overflow. And this is basically bhakti, right? This is, like how we read the second canto verse. What was the verse? Certainly that heart is steel framed when we chant the holy name and tears do not flow from our eyes. Right? So bhakti means that transformation of the heart. Heart becomes so soft. It is melting like butter. So Lord's heart melts, and the devotee heart is melting. And that interaction, that sweet interaction of bhakti is what is being seen here. Okay. So now from 23, we'll come to the prayers of Prithu. And these are so beautiful prayers, so beautiful. We often quote these verses also. Right? Everyone okay so far? So any point from 17 to 22, the Lord's affectionate dealings with Prithu. What is the point that struck to you?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes.
In the third part, it says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Nara, he immediately acted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana from Vaikuntha. What does that mean, Prabhuji?
So he was playing the role of a demigod as Vishnu. But now he is no longer in the role of a demigod as Vishnu. So as a demigod, he was doing not touching the ground. But now it is that bhakti he is relishing the bhakti of his bhakta to such an extent that he can no longer play the role of a demigod. See, just like example would be like someone is a CEO of a company. Now, as a CEO, he is like, okay, this is my duty, this is what I need to do, all the formal interaction. Now, all of a sudden, he's like, let's say a 5-month-old child comes. Even though he is a CEO, now all of a sudden seeing his newborn child, immediately all symptoms, he feel like, oh, so sweet. And he forgets the position of CEO, and then he takes his original position. So similarly here, Vishnu gave up. He couldn't hold on this position of demigod, and then he accepts his own position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Thinking this answer is so perfect in context to Yayatamam Prapadyante, Just like how the situation he was acting, but the situation changes, he's acting as the Lord of the hearts.
He immediately acted as the Supreme Personality of God and Narayan from Vaikuntha. Yeah.
So this context was there in the third canto as well. The Lord putting his hands on the shoulder of Garuda. The same exact statement on the hands on Garuda.
Oh yeah, in that Kumara episode. Right?
I remember that scene, because the Lord, when he comes, he was unable to hold the love of the four Kumaras and the interaction with the two doorkeepers as well, because at the same time he was experiencing both the situation. One is sad that they has been cursed, the other one is very wonderful.
There's actually one more explanation that Acharya Vishwanath Thakur gives there, that when this whole thing was happening, the Lord from within, inside Vaikuntha, in his palace, he actually was so much in a rush to come to see Jay and Vijay that he did not even wait for Garuda. He just ran. And then later on, Garuda came. And because Lord wanted to say that, this was such an urgent situation, I just came, he wanted to give acknowledgement. Garuda, you're still my carrier. Don't worry, I will use you this time, but there was an urgent situation, I had to come. And hence he keeps his hands on Garuda and say, no, you are there. But now it was that love that was pulling me. So, so that's the other explanation given. Thank you. Okay, so let's see Prithu Maharaj's prayers now. So beautiful prayers now.
Text 23. Prituruvacha Varan vipotvad varadeshvarad buddha katam rinite guna vikriyatmanam yenarakandam api santi dehinam tani shakaivalyapate vrinenacha.
Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? Such benedictions are available automatically even in the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction. Hare Krishna.
So, one point for the previous verse is Vishnachari Thakur says that how Sridhar Swami says the Lord's feet do not touch the earth. However, controlled by extreme mercy, the Lord forgot himself as the demigod. That's the point Prabhupada is explaining. And his feet touched the earth. But to keep himself from stumbling, he placed his hand on Garuda. Okay, so this is the first verse of Prithu Maharaj's prayers. He says, Vibho, my dear Supreme Lord, Tvat Varada Ishvara. You are the Varada. You are the highest of bestowers of benediction. Katham Buddha Vrinite. How could a learned person ask for Guna Vikriya, ask for benedictions meant for those bewildered by the three modes of material nature? Isn't that same Prahlad Maharaj? What did Prahlad Maharaj say when Hiranyakashipu asked? Says, ask for a benediction. What's the first thing Prahlad Maharaj says?
I'm not a merchant.
Yeah, I'm not a merchant. Like, I didn't do this for exchange, like for a material benediction. So here, similar point that Prithu Maharaj is saying, I'm not, you are the one who can give all the benediction. I am not interested in the benedictions that people who are under the three modes of material nature, that what they would ask. I'm not interested in that. Then further he says, Ye narakanam api shanti deha. They are available even for people in hell. Naraka. Even in hell, they can ask the Lord, oh, I want this liberation, I want this. They can get. And then further he says, Tan Isha Kaivalya Pate Vrinat. Kaivalya Pate means the Lord who gives Kaivalya Mukti, liberation. And here, Prithu Maharaj is saying, I do not even want liberation. Right? Although you are the Lord who gives liberation, Kaivalya Pate, I do not ask for such benediction also. Right? So first verse basically is saying, I don't want any material benediction, I don't want even liberation. You can bestow anything, your Kaivalya Pate, you can give liberation. I do not want that. Right? And Prabhupada in the purport, he actually says, there are different kind of benedictions according to a person's demands. Karmis, what do they ask for? Higher planets, right? Swargaloka. Right? Well, Jnanis, what do they ask for? They say, I want to get out of this, I want to merge into Brahman. Kaivalya. Devotees, what do they ask for? Nothing. Neither of these. Neither the benedictions of the Karmis, neither the benedictions of the Jnanis. Right? And for devotees, what is merging like? Which is that verse? We quoted many times. Which is the verse? Prabhupada Saraswati. Anyone knows?
Narakeshu Sama, something like that, something hellish.
Kaivalyam narakayate tridasha akasha pushpayate. Right? Durdantriya kala sarpre protat patali protata damshrayate. Vishwam purna sukhaya vidhi maha indra chakiyate. Yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam tam gaura Gauram eva stuma, the last line. Right? Only by the mercy of Mahaprabhu all this will happen. Right? So that's the first Prabhupada and Saraswati quotes. But here, Prabhupada makes another interesting point. Why does it say like these benedictions are available for those even in hell? And Prabhupada says, here in this sentence he says, because this material existence itself is hell. So there's this famous interview where a reporter comes to Prabhupada and says like, does Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita in hellish planets? And then Prabhupada then kind of understands. So she asks again, okay, what is it? What the hell? And then she asks again, does Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita in hellish planet? And Prabhupada says, this is hellish planet. In last, he's in London actually. You're not thinking it is hellish? This is hellish planet. What do you mean by hellish planet? Especially in London, and Prabhupada is laughing. Always dark, moist. What do you want more? This is hellish. That's Prabhupada saying London is hellish. So here Prabhupada says, called Naraka because material existence itself is hellish condition. Right? So people of this material world, they ask for all these karmi benedictions, but Prithu Maharaj is saying no. As a pure devotee, Prithu Maharaj made his position clear. Like how Prahlad Maharaj made his position clear. Don't ask for these things. I am born in the family of demons. Right? So don't tempt me to ask benedictions, material benedictions. No. I am not a manik. I'm not a merchant. Okay. Right. And then here also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Prithu Maharaj says, how can I ask for liberation? I cannot even tolerate the name of liberation. Where do we see this? A devotee could not tolerate the name of liberation.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, after he gets the mercy of Mahaprabhu, then he comes to Mahaprabhu. He says, Mahaprabhu, listen, I will tell you Bhagavatam shloka. Tatenu kampam susim kshamano bhunjana evam kritam vipakam ridvag vapubir vidadan namaste jivetayo bhakti pade sab daya bhag. And Mahaprabhu said, what is that? Bhakti pade sab daya bhag. He said, no, Bhagavatam shloka is mukti. Mukti pade sab daya bhag. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, no, Mahaprabhu, I cannot even tolerate the name Mukti anymore. And Mahaprabhu said, he appreciated the sentiment. And this is a mood of Vaishnava. But he said, yes, this is very good, but please don't change Bhagavatam. Leave that as Mukti. Because that Mukti is actually the Vimukti. That is Bhakti actually. Right? Mukti, that Mukti is to be situated in our original constitutional position. So. But you see the mood of a Vaishnava. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could not even tolerate the word mukti, and here same Prithu Maharaj is making. Okay, 24.
Prabhuji, here why Vishnu is called as a demigod?
In 22?
Translation, Prabhuji. So Prithu Maharaj is saying, my dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is one way, he plays the hat of Vishnu, right? As a Vishnu, he is also doing the task of maintenance. So in that way, he is also, he's the best of demigods, but he's also playing the role of a demigod. See, when this sacrifice is happening, even Vishnu comes because he is also one way receiving the offerings of like the demigods. So even he has a task to play in this material. He maintains this whole thing. Right? Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, Shiva annihilates. So in that way, he is playing the role of a demigod. Though he is above the modes, he is actually playing the role of a demigod. So hence he is the best of all the demigods. Okay.
Prabhu, in the Sanskrit, which word exactly, because Prabhupada does not has that demigod word in word-to-word translation. Can you tell me which word it means by saying demigod?
I think Ishwarat.
Isha?
But Varada Ishwarat. You are the highest of bestowers of benediction. Yeah.
Varada Ishwarat.
I don't know, where is that? It's interesting. Where is that?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In text 22 also it says like Lord Vishnu is the supreme personality of Godhead, but because he lives in one of the planetary systems within this universe, he sometimes plays as if he is one of the demigods of this universe.
Yes. Yes. So that point is clear. Yeah, that point is clear. But where in the Sanskrit is the best of demigods? I don't see it.
Because demigods are also called Ishas, right, Prabhu? There is this word, no? Isha, Tan Isha Kaivalyapati,
Oh, Isha. Yeah, yeah.
right?
Mataji, but here Isha translated as O Supreme Lord.
Yeah,
See, the main point is like if you see either the Ishwarat or Isha, what does Isha really mean?
controller. Controller.
So all the demigods are controllers.
Yeah.
They're controlling different aspects. So in that way, that is Vishnu is also a controller. He's also controlling. And how does he maintain without controlling? So he's also an Isha, but he's the best of all Ishas. So that's why it is Ishvara. Okay, 23. 23 is a beautiful shloka.
You mean 24?
24.
24. Na kamayena tatadapyaham kvachin nayatra yushmach bujashva savaha mahat samantar hridayan mukhachuto vidhatsvakarna yutameshamevaraha.
My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1 million ears, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees.
So this is a benediction that Prithu Maharaj asked, right? So what does he want? As we said, like why does the Lord ask the devotee to ask benediction? Because he wants to see that bhakti of the devotee. He wants to taste the bhakti. And here he says, Na kame nat aham kvachit na. Oh Master, at any time do not give me liberation. Because in previous verse, what did he call the Lord? What did the name he used for the Lord? What did he say?
Varada Ishvarat.
No, but other thing. Kaivalyapati. Kaivalyapati is the master the person who gives liberation. And one way Vishwanath Chakravarti says, you call Kaivalyapati, so are you still interested in liberation? He says, no, I'll make it clear. Here, na kame nat aham kvachit na. Oh master, I do not desire that benediction of liberation anymore, the liberation anymore. Right? So, what do I want? Yatra yushma charana ambuja asva. Why? Because there is no charana ambuja asva, no nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. Then what do you want? What do you want? Mahatama anta hridayat mukhachuta. Mukhachuta. From the heart of the great devotees, from the core of the heart of great devotees, Mahatama, right? Being delivered. What do I want to do? Vidatsa karna achutam. Give me 1 million years. Esha me varaha. I want that benediction of having 1 million years so that I can hear the nectar from the core of the heart of great devotees. Isn't Rupa Goswami say similar of us? Right? Rupa Goswami says what? Tunde Tandavini. Right? He actually says, oh Lord, when I chant the holy name, I desire millions of years. Why? Why are devotees asking for this? Because there's so much nectar in this Harikatha. They say like 2 years, so limited. How much can I hear with them? Give me millions of years. In ISKCON Desire Tree, there are 50,000 lectures, and I have no time. Give me millions of years so that in every year I can hear and I can fill myself with Harikatha. So much nectar is there in your lotus feet. That is what I want. Right? So first is, O Kaivalyapati, I do not want liberation. 1 million years to hear the glories of the pure devotee. Right? And then here, Prabhupada focuses on why does he say only from the heart of from the core of the heart of pure devotees? And then here he says, Prabhupada goes 1.1.3, Sukha Mukhad Amrita Dravya Samyata. Right? What is that point in that 1.1.3? that Bhagavatam has become even more tastier. Why? Because it's come from the lotus mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. So yes, Bhagavatam is already relishable, but it's become even more tasty. Now imagine how many pure devotees are there? So many acharyas there. Now everyone, when they are giving a commentary of Bhagavatam, they are imbibing their commentary with their bhakti. Now how much bhakti is there to taste? Every acharya, every verse, a particular flavor of bhakti, and you want to relish each one of those. Right? So that's the whole point, and hence he's saying, I want millions of years. That is my desire. At the same time, Prabhupada here makes actually Sanatana Goswami has prohibited, strictly prohibited hearing from the mouth of non-devotee, which is verse Prabhupada in lectures you can hear. He often quotes Avaishnava Mukodgirnam Putam Hari Kathamritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpo Chishtam Yathapaya. What is Sarpa? Snake. Right? If milk is given to a snake, what happens? Milk becomes poison. Right? So similarly, though it is Harikatha is nectar, but it's coming from the mouth of non-devotees, like poisonous. Then further, Prabhupada quotes 3:25-25. It says, Satam prasanga mama virya samvido. What is that verse? That what we should do? Satam prasanga mama virya samvido. We should hear the glories from Satam, from the pure devotees. Right? Bhavanti rit karna. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido. Bhavanti rit karna. Rasayana katha. Right? Rasayana. It is like that nectar we have to actually drink. So Prabhupada goes on. So innumerable devotees, they are glorifying the Lord for time immemorial and unlimited time. Still cannot completely finish. Therefore, Prithamana is desiring millions of years. And Rupa Goswami similarly says what? Tunde tandavi niratim vidhanate tundavali labhyate karna krodha kadambini gathayate karna budebhyo spriham cheta prangana sangini vichayate sarvendriyanam kritam no jane janita kiyabhir amrite krishneti varna dvai two Krishna. That's it. Rupa Goswami is saying Krishna. I do not know how much nectar in these two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy names of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within my mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of my ear, we desire millions of years. Same. What the Prithamana is asking, same Rupa Goswami is asking, millions of years. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. Right? So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Ante Leela, chapter 1, text 99. Okay. And then further, we see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He said, in liberation there is no honey of your lotus feet, no sweetness of talks about your qualities. Therefore, why do I want liberation? I cannot tolerate the word liberation. They are coming from the hearts of the great devotees and dripping from their mouths. It's dripping. The nectar is dripping from their mouths. I cannot give up even one among all the topics which is being sung here. Everywhere, unlimited devotees for unlimited time, unlimited acharyas are speaking Harikatha. Right? You go to the devotee's house, you see their bookshelves. How many books are there? It's like you buy like all the bookshelves and still like, where will I keep? And hence devotees have to keep in bookshelves like books like, they'll keep one, they'll keep another. Because no space to keep so many bookshelves. What is there time? No time to read. We cannot even finish Prabhupada's books like many of us. What to read about books of our acharyas and so many, Bhakti Vaibhava Thakur and then Rupa Goswami. I mean, how many books are there? You keep reading. Right? So much nectar. And hence, here is saying, when will I relish all that nectar? When will I relish that nectar? Right? So, out of great greed, I desire that infinite number of years. Okay. So we'll just take a 5-minute break. And this praise is so beautiful. Yeah. So,
Prabhu, since we are talking about this hearing from pure devotees, so we know that there are many pure devotees, but we have to be very specific about our Swajatiya, right? hearing like-mindedness from the like-minded, because it can deviate us from our,
Yes,
you know,
that's a very, very
goal.
nice.
So it's a because of this right now situations of being on YouTube and social media, we are exposed to so much of all these things, So at what point, because that person is also speaking such nectarian Harikatha. It's a Satampa Sangha, it's coming from pure devotee's mouth. But how do we filter out though? Because this is causing a conflict in the minds also at some point, because someone saying do this, someone saying do that, contradictory. How do we filter out?
See, I think you started off with the answer, right? The three aspects of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What do you say? Swajatiya, Snigna, and Swajatiya, Asya Signa. And basically, Bhakti Rasamrita says it. First is Swajatiya. He should be the same specific spiritual family in our lineage, right? Not even like other Gaudiya Vaishnavas. You want to stick to Srila Prabhupada, right? Coming in that mood. Because, like we hear from other Gaudiya Vaishnavas and they may say, and, we are not saying that they may not be pure, they may be pure devotees, but because their mood may be different from Srila Prabhupada, then what happens? We'll read that and we'll say like, oh, did Prabhupada say that correct? We'll get doubts in our Param Gurudev. And when the doubts come, that will destroy our spiritual life. So best to just stick to one path. Right? That's one. Then instinct. The person should be like affectionate to us. They should have that affection that I am speaking for this person because I care for him. Right? I care for him. So that's one third point, right? Swayatiya Asa Signa and then Sadhu Sangha.
He should be more advanced than us.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Third point, he should be more advanced than us. So these three are criteria from whom we should actually hear. Right? He should be
But
in a superior position to us. So to your point, yes, YouTube is flooded with so many lectures. There are so many Gaudiyas also giving lectures. Right? But what is most important for us? Most important for us is to actually connect with our line, our Gurudev, our Srila Prabhupada. Because that's, like if you are doing something which is not pleasing to our Gurudev, is that really bhakti? It may give pleasure to our ears and be like, oh, so nice Harikatha, but is it really what our Gurudev wants? If the Gurudev does not want, then that's not even bhakti. May sound very nice, oh, this Krishna Katha, oh, now they're talking Radha Krishna, Leela, this so and so. But, I mean, see, I personally feel like if we are, we should having that position of humility. That who am I? I'm just a sadhaka. I don't want to take any risk. Let me just stick to the path. And we have examples of, so many Prabhupada, just sticking to Prabhupada, and then success. At the end of the life, going back home. So why risk our spiritual life? Right? Also, sometimes it's like this, like so when Sachin Swami Maharaj gives his example, it's like, you say like, okay, we have to find water, you have to dig a well. Right? So what do? You go a little bit deep and then no water. And then what will you do? You'll go somewhere else. Dig a little bit deep, no water. Go somewhere else. Dig a little bit, no water. And you'll never get the nectar. What you should do, stick to one, keep digging, keep going deeper, I mean, like, it's amazing. Like, one way we hear Prabhupada's lectures, and you say like, oh yeah, okay, Prabhupada saying I'm not this body and all. But the same lecture, a Prabhupada disciple will hear and say, wow, Prabhupada talked about Samadhi in this lecture. You're like, what? Yeah, I heard that lecture. Where was it? So it is not just what we are hearing. It's like that mood of hearing. When you're hearing the right mood, Krishna will reveal whatever is required for our spiritual life. But if that commitment to our Gurudev, to Prabhupada is not there, then Krishna is not pleased. Oh, you want to jump here and there? Okay, when you have that commitment, I will give you realization. So it is not just like our, oh yeah, this Leela is so good. I mean, it's not all that. It is our commitment to our Gurudev that pleases Krishna the most. And that's when Krishna will reveal this deeper topics in our heart. Whatever is required for us, Krishna will reveal. And at the right moment, Krishna will inspire us. Okay, you're progressing in bhakti. Now I want you to read. Maybe, Krishna may inspire us to read some Acharya's books. But Krishna will guide us. Like, we don't have faith in Krishna, you stick to the path. What does Prabhupada say? Our success in life is Yasya deva parabhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasya kathita yartha prakashante mahatma. There's implicit faith in Guru and Krishna. That's it. As deep is our faith, to that extent, prakashante, Krishna will reveal himself to us. Right? So jumping here and there will not help.
But Prabhu, there is as we know, Swajatiya we understood, but there is a context of Snigdha. That is a trump card, Prabhu, because the other side is playing that trump card of Snigdha very nicely. And since now in our society, our gurus are, very far, we are not really that connected. So the closest Snigdha takes over our position of spiritual master's instructions, which is a big problem. So this is, as you know, I deal with this every day. So
See, like when we say like, okay, Snigna, who loves us more than our own Guru Maharaj? It is when we are saying that, oh, our Guru Maharaj in India, I'm not feeling that. That means our connection to Guru Maharaj is not deep. And I'm not talking about anyone personal, but just making the point that if we are really in that mood of feeling that connection, we will feel the presence of Guru Maharaj. His love for us, you will feel. I mean, like, I'm saying this, I'm meditating on my Guru Maharaj, and like, just the way he called our names, so much love. That is just like, I can hear him calling my name. It's like, so much love. It's like, I don't think there's anyone else who cares about me more than my Gurudev. So much Snigna. And his pranam mantra actually has the word Snigna. But this is so many exalted personalities, so many Acharya, Japada Goswami Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Goswami, Indra, Sachin, like all these. You just take shelter of them, they'll take us back home. You jump here and there. Then, even from the Guru side, okay, you're jumping there, okay, you want to get instruction, okay. But if you are under the umbrella of Guru, whatever, even if you are like lazy, whatever, Guru Maharaj said, whatever he's here, I will take responsibility. If you go there, then Guru says, you want to go there? So you are that person, okay, you can go there. But if you are committed to Guru, Guru Maharaj will keep, yes, I take responsibility to take him back home, back to God. I will do it. And that's our commitment. So, yeah, that's the whole point. You stay safe, you'll be successful. You jump here and there, no guarantee. Okay, and it's not really 9/11. So let's take our... And everything, everyone okay with this prayer of Prithvi Maharaj? We just read 2 verses. First is his benediction. He says he doesn't want the benediction of liberation, neither the one of materialist. And the second is, what did he want? Millions of years. Right? Because so much nectar. He wants to just relish that nectar unconditionally. Okay, let's take 5 minutes break and come at 9:15 and we'll continue prayers. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, now is the famous verse that is often quoted. What does everyone please come back? What do the words, the Hari Katha coming from the lips of pure devotee, what do they contain? And that's our next verse. Okay, everyone please come back and let's continue. Let's have some more time, maybe half an hour. So, okay, text number 25.
It's your favorite verse, Prabhu.
What?
It's your favorite verse.
Oh yeah, it is such a beautiful verse. 25.
Sa utma shloka mahanmuka chuto bhavat padambhoja sudhakananilaha smritim punarvismrita tattvavartmanam kuyoginam no vitaratyalam varai.
My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. Hare Krishna.
Mhm. Okay. So basically this verse, very, very important and beautiful verse, says Sa Uttama Shloka Mahan Mukhachuta. Right? So it actually says Uttama Shloka. Who is Uttama Shloka? The Lord who is glorified with the best of all verses. Uttama. The best of all verses, that personality who is glorified by the Lord. Right? And then that glorification, Mahat Mukhachuta. It is actually coming from whom? From the mouths of the great devotees. And when the great devotees, the pure devotees speak Hari Katha, then what does that carry? Bhavat Pada Ambuja Sudha Kana Anilaha. That those words carry the dust part. Anilaha means the soothing breeze. So the breeze, when they're speaking, it is like the breeze carrying the dust particles, Sudha nectar, Kana particles from Pada Ambuja. So the particles which are on the lotus feet of the Lord, those are actually flowing through the words of glorification from the mouth of pure devotees. And then what? Smritim puna vismrita tattva. And when we hear Smritim Puna Vismrita. So what we have forgotten? What have we forgotten? To pay the electricity bill. Right? What have we forgotten? We have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. Smritim Punaha. And the forgotten living entity again remembers. I mean, this, so when there's this debate on like whether bhakti is inherent or, and many times this verse is used, it says Puna Smrit, like Smritim Puna. Again, it reminds you what we had already known. So a relationship is already there, and then we have forgotten. And now these words, when we hear these words, the forgotten living entity again remembers his tattva, his eternal relationship with you. And then Vartamana Kuyoginam na vitarati. And therefore, those who are kuyogi, who's a kuyogi? The persons who have actually forgotten, who are actually working in this world, forgetting our eternal relationship with Krishna. For those kuyogi, vartamana, it brings them back to the path of bhakti. Alam varahi, I do not desire any other benediction. Right? So why does he want millions of years? Just to hear this Harikatha. What is this Harikatha? It is imbued with the dust particles from the lotus feet of Krishna. And when we hear those dust particles, what do they do? Puna smritim vismrita. Right? Smritim puna vismrita. What we have forgotten, we actually remember. Right? So here Purport, he actually says, transcendental vibration from the mouth of pure devotees is so powerful, it can revive our memory of our eternal relationship with Krishna. I mean, imagine, like our relationship with Krishna, you cannot speculate, but Gopi, Manjari, whatever, Gopa, whatever is that, that relationship can be revived just from what? From hearing, from the mouth of a pure devotee. Right? And under Maya's influence, we have forgotten. Right? Therefore, the Lord, when he comes, what does he do? Jeev jago, Gora Chandra bole, Kota nidra jao Maya, Pichachi rakole. And how does the Lord say Jeev jago? Through his pure devotees. When the pure devotees speak Harikatha, it is this Lord who is actually waking us sleeping souls who are sleeping in the lap of the witch called Maya. Right? So that awakening voice comes from the mouth of a pure devotee. So beautiful. Awakening voice comes through the mouth of a pure devotee. And I've heard some stories of like devotees having this experience that they're sleeping and all of a sudden they hear the Guru Maharaj calling, "Hey, wake up!" And it's like it's just in dreams, but it's like, oh, Guru Maharaj is waking me up, it's like, it's like so the pure devotees, their awakening voice comes through the mouth of pure devotees. And how is it that they are speaking the saffron dust particles, mercy particles from the lotus feet of the Lord? And Prabhupada explained, because pure devotees, they are always engaged in service to the Lord. They are always under the shelter of the Lord. They have direct connection with that lotus feet. Because they are always so close to the Lord, when they speak, the breeze flowing from the lotus feet of the Lord comes from their mouth. Right? I mean, I can give I was just going to give like an opposite example. Like, let's say you're in a filthy place, like a stinky place, and you're speaking, and it just appears when you're speaking, it's like, oh, bad smell, don't even speak, because it's like you're in that. It's a bad example, but I'm saying you can use that contrast to understand the point that how pure devotees they are always in touch with Krishna's lotus feet. Because they are right there under shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. When they speak, right there, they are in contact. So those from the breeze flowing from Krishna's lotus feet comes out through the mouth, and they have the saffron dust particle from Krishna's lotus feet in their speech of the purity of the glorification of the Lord. And when that enters our ears and enters our heart, then we remember, oh, this is our position in spiritual world. Our Swarup we can remember just through that. Right? And here it says, as soon as the sleeping jiva hears this powerful voice, immediately he remembers his eternal relationship with Krishna. And then Prabhupada concludes by saying, everyone in this world is a kuyogi. Why? Because they engage in service of the material world, forgetting our relationship with Krishna. Therefore, from kuyogi, we have to become a suyogi. And how will that happen? By hearing from a pure devotee. Right? So, and which is this, at the end, Prabhupada says, especially by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the process of hearing from a pure devotee is recommended in all Vedic scriptures, especially by Mahaprabhu. Which is that verse? One may stay in his position of life, it does not matter. One should hear from a pure devotee. Mahaprabhu.
Sthane stitam.
Jnane prayasa udaprasna mananta eva jivanti sanmurkitam hari bhavadiya madam sthane stita stutingatam tanuvan manope. Ye prayaso jita ajito treta tri loka. That basically it says that just sthane, stay where you are. But what do? Hear Harikatha. Hear Harikatha. 10:14:3 Bhagavatam, right? Brahma's ways. So very important to hear from the mouth of pure devotee. And Prabhupada says, first, who is a pure devotee? Who's fully surrendered to Krishna. Second, he has no material desires. Third, no speculative knowledge. Jnane prayasa, he's given up the jnane prayasa. And fourth, there's no contamination with the modes of material nature. This is a pure devotee. Right? 4 points. Fully surrendered, without material desires, without speculative knowledge, and without contamination of the modes.
Prabhu, recently when there's this Holi going on, Prabhu, I was just watching a video of Nandagaon, and there they sprinkle gun colors. Everything was going inside the mouth, and so this devotee, after getting there, he's trying to talk.
And
Everything.
color is That's another nice example. That how when the devotees speak, the saffron dust particles on the lotus feet that comes out. That's a good example. So here, I mean, Vishwanath Thakur is saying, just the breeze touching the particle of the nectar of your lotus feet. What to speak of the actual particle? You know, because here it says when pure devotees speak Harikatha, it's like the breeze, right? What to speak of the actual particle? Right? Anything related to topics of your qualities produce remembrance of your lotus feet. Right? Okay. Now, text number 26.
Rosie, like, how do we understand our forgetful? We will remember our original position. So right now we forgot, and we will remember our original position. Like, is it like we were with Krishna and then we fell down, and then we now it will help us to remember that?
Yeah. And actually this verse, like it says, Smritim Puna Vismritim. So what we have forgotten, we will remember. Now, how can we understand that? One way, if you take just more general understanding rather than going to the point of it, is that we are positioned as one Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas. Right? So we have forgotten that we are servant of Krishna. But by doing this, we will realize, oh, actually I'm servant of Krishna. Everything I should do in service of Krishna. So we'll remember that. By hearing Harikatha, we'll be like, oh, I should serve Krishna. I should go distribute books, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let me serve. And that will get convinced, just by hearing Harikatha. Right? So from hearing Harikatha, we'll get the conviction to serve Lord Shri Krishna, to dedicate our life as service to Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay, 26.
Yasha Shivam Sushrava Arya Sangame Yadichaya Chopa Srinoti Te Sakrit Katam Gunagyo Viramed Vina Pashum Shiryat Pravavre Gunasangrahe Chaya. Yeah, definitely.
My dear, highly qualified Lord, if one, in the association of pure devotees, hears even once the glories of your activities, he does not, unless he is nothing but an animal, give up the association of devotees. For no intelligent person would be so careless as to leave their association. The perfection of chanting and hearing about your glories are accepted even by the goddess of fortune, who desired to hear of your unlimited activities and transcendental glories.
Okay, so basically here it says, so now Prithumar is further asking, he says, Su Shrava, O highly glorified Lord, right? Yadricha, we have heard this word Yadricha, almost like if one by chance, right? By chance, Yadricha, somehow or other. What does he do? He hears, Upashranati. Somehow or other, if one hears, then what happens? Yasha Shivam, all auspicious glorification, Arya Sangame. So this word Arya, Prabhupada explains in the purport. He talks about Aryan, who is Aryan and so on. So Arya Sangame. Sangame means association of Aryans. Who is Aryans here? He is advanced devotees. Sakrit, even once. So what is this verse saying? Even once, by chance, you hear the glorification, the all auspicious glorification from the in the association of advanced devotees. What will happen? Even once. What will happen? So we'll see further. Katham guna gya viramet. How can he who appreciates those qualities cease to hear vina pashum unless an animal? So what is the point here? That even once, sakrit, even once, if he just hears, by chance, he's just walking somewhere and he says, oh, Hare Krishna devotees, oh, and he hears some glorification. Even once, then what happens? Unless he is an animal, pashu, what will happen? He'll want to hear again and again and again. He'll get addicted to hearing. Right? He'll get addicted to hearing. Unless, are we addicted to hearing? Harikatha? Yes or no? We are addicted to hearing Harikatha or not?
Not yet.
Not yet. That means what? What is this verse saying?
Hearing.
Vinam Pashum. So basically here, see 2 points are there. Why I'm asking the question is Vinam Pashum and then Katham Guna Gya Hai Viramet. How can he who appreciates the good qualities? See, we're hearing Hari Katha, but if we develop that appreciation, oh, this is Krishna, and you're like, oh, this is how Krishna is. And when we hear that, when we even develop the mood of appreciation, then we'll want to hear more. Now, when we hear, maybe our hearing is more passive. Okay, we hear, but we are not actually appreciating those qualities. And because of that, we are not addicted. Right? So that's the point. And then the other point is Vina Pashuna. That those are animals, they will just go away. We are at least trying to hear, but we have to try to develop that mood of appreciating Krishna's qualities from hearing. So Naam, Gun, Rupa, Leela. Right? So Guna, we have to appreciate. Oh, Krishna is so merciful. Krishna is this, Krishna. We start appreciating. And by that, we'll get addicted to hearing. Right? Then further he said, Shri Pravare Guna Sangrataha Ichaya. Even Lakshmi ji accepted the perfection of hearing your qualities. With what desire? I mean, Lakshmi ji is always serving the lotus feet of Lord. What else does she desire? What is she desiring in Bilvavan? What is Lakshmi ji sorry, Belvan, right? Belvan. What is she desiring in Belvan? She's sitting there doing austerities. Why? She wants Arya Sangame. She wants the association of the gopis of Vrindavan. Because when she hears what the gopis says, then she'll get entrance into the Ras Leela. So even Lakshmi ji is actually performing the devotion service of hearing your qualities with a desire to enter your Ras Leela. Right? So Prabhupada says the most important factor in this world is association with devotees. Arya Sangam. Who is Arya? Those who are advancing spiritually, right? So it is like the most elevated who adopts Vedic civilization. Those are the Aryans. Right? And further, he actually makes glorification is very much appreciated by the Aryan family. Now see how Prabhupada makes this point. So interesting. He says these Americans and Europeans, They were contaminated by advancement of material sciences. And then hence they turned into hippies. Prabhupada says reprobates, hippies. Then, as soon as they heard, because they are descendants of the Aryan family who had lost their original spiritual culture, they immediately came and took up Krishna consciousness. What is Prabhupada saying? That actually, all even Americans, Europeans, originally they were what? Aryans. They were from India who actually moved out and then spread to Europe and America. Originally they are all Aryans. And now when Prabhupada is coming, he's just reminding their culture of Aryan. Because they're already the descendants of Aryan. So by hearing, they're like, oh yes, this is our culture. This is our culture. Right? So it's not like some Indian culture. No, this is the eternal Sanatan Dharma. And just by hearing, they actually associate with the pure devotee, they became captivated. And that's, like we hear the story of Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Right? In the night, he just heard the Hare Krishna mantra. It was playing on the radio. Just by hearing, he was like, oh, what is this? And that's it. And he gave his life to Prabhupada. Right? And here it says, hearing so amazing, even Lakshmi ji specifically wanted to hear for association of the gopis. And hence he underwent severe austerities. And then last part of purport Prabhupada says, he says, attraction of chanting. What is the one? In Maharaj Prithu mentions that the attraction of this chanting is so great that one cannot give up the process unless he is an animal. So we already talked about this, right? Yeah. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the yogis, what do? They are like the bulls. They eat grass, and because they are eating grass, when they say when sugarcane is given to them, what will they say? The sugarcane, the skin is too thick, so they will reject it. Right? So the yogis, they are doing all these austerities, but when it comes to Harikatha, they'll be they'll give it up. Right? And then karmis, what will do? They are like camels. Yogis are like bulls, karmis are like camels. Camels, why? Because what do camels do? They bite into thorns. And with thorns, what are they chewing? Is there any juice? Their own blood they are choosing. And that's how karmis do. Work so hard. Why? Spending. And then when you give some mango buds to karmis, they'll be like, what? Don't waste time. I need to chew my own blood. I need to spend my blood and enjoy. Right? That's how karmis do. So, what is Prithu Maharaj saying? Prithu Maharaj saying, the yogis, they will not appreciate sugarcane, the sweetness. Karmis, they will not appreciate mango. What you should do? Give liberation to both of them. I don't want liberation. You give liberation to both of them. Don't give it to me. I don't care for liberation. Right? And here he's saying, this is a taste of Harikatha. This is a taste. Even Lakshmi ji, she is actually aspiring to taste this Harikatha. Right? And then here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also quotes the verse, famous verse, which is that Mahaprabhu gave 61 explanations, 61 different explanations. 64. Atma Ramasya Muniyo Nirgantha Api Urkame Kurvanti Ahitukim Bhaktim Ittam Bhuto Gunohari. Gunahari. The Hari Guna is so good that even those who are Brahman realize, they are like, when they hear, they are like, what is this? I've never experienced this before. This proves that how Harikatha is beyond even liberation. It is the highest of all. Okay? So 27, we'll do one last verse and then we'll stop.
Atha bhajetva kila purushottamam gunalayam padmakare valalasaha apyavayore kapatis sprido kalir nasyat kritattvach charanaikatanayoho.
Hare Krishna. Now I wish to engage in service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to serve just like the goddess of fortune, who carries a lotus flower in her hand, because His Lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. I am afraid that the goddess of fortune and I would quarrel, because both of us would be attentively engaged in the same service.
So interesting that he's saying, Atha, therefore, Abhaje, I shall engage in devotional service unto you. Akila Purusha Uttama. O all-inclusive Supreme Personality of Godhead. Guna Alayam. You are the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. Padmakara Eva Lalasaha. Being desiring of offering service. Like who? Padmakara. Padmakara is who? One who holds a Padma in her hand. Who is she? Lakshmiji. Lakshmiji holds a lotus in her hand. So he's saying, I am desiring to offer seva like Lakshmiji. What seva Lakshmiji does? She actually always massages the lotus feet of the Lord. She actually cleans, decorated. We read about the queens, how they're cleaning the palaces. She's always, constantly fanning the Lord, offering betel to the Lord. Constant seva. So Prithu Maharaj is saying, I want to serve like Lakshmiji. But then I have a concern. What is that? Avayos Prida Kaili Nasya. But I'm afraid there'll be a competition and quarrel between Lakshmiji and me. Why? Tvat charana ek tanayoho. So doing the service to your lotus feet with one attention, to ekapati, right? A one master. Both of us would attentively engage in same seva. Then what will happen? Competition and quarrel. Is it true? Prithu Maharaj is saying that I want to serve like Lakshmiji. Okay, that's a good mood. But he didn't say, but I'm concerned that I'll quarrel with Lakshmiji. Like, what is a practical example? Like, let's say some seva in the temple. And you come and you say like, oh, I want to serve like that devotee. And then you come and you start doing the seva. And then what will the devotee feel? This is my seva. Then you'll come and you say like, Prabhu, why are you taking my seva? Find some other seva. This is my seva. And then quarrel. Right? Quarrel. Then what will happen? Right? So the main point here is one way, like Prabhupada explains before, that even sometimes in devotees there's competition. But all that competition is all in seva of Krishna. So that's another point. But here, Prithu Maharaj is thinking of Lakshmi and he knows Lakshmiji is my mother. So it's not a quarrel just like, oh, I am better than you. He knows Lakshmiji is the mother. She's the central pole of the universe. Therefore, he's suggesting that maybe I'll take a little bit of seva from her. Right? So, and then this mood of competition is actually a kind of bhakti known as Veera Bhakti, the desire for competition. Right? Did Prabhupada encourage this competition? Yes. He said, there's so many, like Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and then there are other devotees and said, they distributed so many books. How many are you doing? They distributed so many back to God. How many are you doing? And he used to say, okay, what are you doing? Double it, because you have to beat them. So he encouraged that friendly mood of competition between devotees. Right? And one way, devotees have that mood. That's a kind of rasa there. Veera Bhakti. Right? Veera Bhakti, that I want to, like in that mood of competition. So here Prabhupada in the purport, he actually makes a point. Will there be, so he's asking, will there be some competition between us for serving one master, Ekapati, by proper method? There will be no conflict. We'll both be constantly engaged in one object, serving the lotus feet. So actually it's just out of like that humor of bhakti. He's saying, oh, maybe there'll be some conflict. And next verse he actually clarifies that. So Prabhupada in the purport, he says, Akila Purusha Uttama. Uttama means the best of all. Purusha, personality, Akila, he is the complete, the Lord of the entire creation. So here, Prabhupada says, Purusha means also enjoyer. There are three classes of enjoyer. Conditioned soul, liberated soul, and the eternal Nitya Siddha. Right? So, the conditioned, they're struggling very hard to become free from all the problems in the material world. The eternal, they never come to the material world. The Lord is Nitya Nityanam, Chaitanya Nityanam. Among all the eternals, he is the one supreme eternal. So even though Prithu Maharaj is Shaktavesh avatar, what are we seeing his role as? A devotee of Krishna. Right? He is one way empowered by Krishna, Shaktavesh avatar. But his mood, what we are seeing, is that of a devotee of Krishna. Right? devotees are very much inclined to render service unto the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord is very much inclined to accepting such loving service. And Lakshmi serves. So here Prabhupada, they are already explaining the point in the next purport. Will there be quarrel? Will there be competition? No. What is Lakshmi ji's bhav with Krishna? Rasa? Madhurya. What is Prithu Maharaj's rasa with Krishna? Dasya. So there is no competition, because they are all, like you can say Chandravali and Radharani. That's competition. Both of them are in the same mood, right? Competition. But here one is in Madhurya, one is in Dasya. So there is no competition, but it's just that mood of a devotee. So if a devotee excels in service, there is no envy. Rather, one aspires to come to that platform. So it's such a nice point. But we aspire. Oh, we see something and we say like, oh, I want to serve like that devotee. So hence Prithu Maharaj is saying, I want to serve like Lakshmi ji. Okay, so stop here. There are a few more verses up to text 31. Some more prayers are there. And then the rest is how Prithu Maharaj offers Lord offers benediction and then he leaves. Okay. So we'll stop here. Thank you all so much. Any final comments before we end?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I really like the beginning part of the purport of text 20, where Prabhupada is writing that the Supreme Lord is always very inclined towards his devotee and is always thinking of the devotee's well-being. And that's the point you said last night, that I'm so insignificant, but still Krishna is personally making arrangements in my life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other points? Prayers of Prithu Maharaj, what did you like?
Prabhu, even if the devotees are in the same rasa, still there won't be any competition as such, right? Because for every jiva, Krishna is different, right? Individual.
Yeah, I mean, in this material world, yes, but in the spiritual world,
there is one Krishna.
Like, I mean, Chandravali and Radharani, always competition. No? But the competition is not, I mean, that
But
is,
in the zest of competition is also service, right, Prabhu?
yeah. I mean, why is that competition? Because Krishna likes that mood of like, it's all Krishna's plan. He likes that. Radharani comes with it. Krishna says Chandra, and like immediately Radharani is like, what? Chandra? And then immediately she gets angry, and then Krishna has to pacify Radharani's man, and then so it's all like kind of a leela there. So even that competition is a rasa. We'll discuss maybe more next time. Competition and rasa. So it's not out of envy, but it is also a flavor of service. Okay.
But you mentioned, Prabhu, right? Recently mentioned that all the anarthas in this material world are also there in the spiritual world in the perfected forms, right? Envy is also there. Lust is also there, remember? The rasa aspect is there.
Yeah, the rasa aspect is there. So emotions in this material world are perverted reflections of the original. So yes, competition is there. Here competition is out of envy, and in that competition, even if you destroy the other person, you're like, yes, I won. That's most important. But in spiritual world, it's all competition, but in that mood of seva to Krishna.
Yes.
What is going to please Krishna the most? That's the highest competition.
Prabhuji, I like 2 points. One, the what you said about the strength and unity, right? And how, like this, we always say there is strength in unity, and we think about that, about the story where we, put all the twigs together and we try to break it. That's the story that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But today, learn something new, where strength and unity with Krishna in the center. We come together in Krishna consciousness to defeat adharma. And that was something new for me.
Yeah.
And second is in Prithu Maharaj's prayers, where in 25 says, devotee thus gradually comes to the right conclusion about the value of life. That is so true for all human beings at this time. We never understand the value of life, and then slowly there's realization, there is knowledge, and there's faith, and then you kind of slowly come to know what is the actual value of life, of this human form. So that kind of
Yeah.
I related to that piece.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you. And that's all through hearing, right? All through hearing. We hear and we realize, yes, this is what I'm meant to do. This is the purpose of my life. This is my value of life. Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I like the point where Prithu Maharaj wants the benediction of 1 million years, so he can hear about the glories of the Lord spoken by the pure devotees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how many, how we write? Unlimited commentaries, unlimited time, unlimited acharyas, so much nectar. What will our 2 years how much can we absorb in 2 years? Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I was thinking on the same point and remembering how Indra, here, he has unlimited eyes. And here, Prithu Maharaj is expecting unlimited ears. Just see, like, same sense object, but the use is so different.
Mm-hmm. But we read that, right? Anyway, so Indra got something else and then that transformed into eyes. But even those eyes became a benediction because when he saw the Lord with those so many eyes, then he could really relish that. So,
Prabhuji, I also like this line Prabhupada is writing in the last line, the first paragraph of text 24, that it's so much relatable that when we hear the glorification of the Lord from the mouth of a pure devotee, it is immediately affected.
That's immediately affected.
Oh, I was also thinking, like, imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead is asking any benediction you want, and then, like, so imagine like how many desires people have for enjoying in this world, and like, so imagine the bliss of hearing Krishna Katha, that he doesn't want anything, but he just wants to hear. Like, so we can't even imagine the bliss of when we really hear Krishna Katha. Like, so we're kind of on the level of animals in that sense because we don't have that much taste. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Shriradevati, you had a point?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I really like the conversation about sticking to our parampara and hearing only what we, from our Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, or in that lineage. It's very important discussion and very instructional too. Like even Radheshyam Prabhu, when he visited, he was saying, don't listen to anything if you haven't listened to your Gurudev's lecture, at least for 15 minutes, and Srila Prabhupada, and then go to somebody who like in our parampara. So it's a good reminder.
Thank you. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I like the point in Shloka 25, how when we hear the words of the pure devotees, it touches the hearts, and they are like saffron particles touching the lotus feet of the Lord, and it immediately awakens the Jiva Jagra, like sleeping souls.
Yeah.
The example what you gave, I really like that example.
Smriti Punaha Vismriti. What you have forgotten will be remembered. Just because, like when you're hearing Harikatha, we are coming directly in contact with those dust particles from Krishna lotus feet. So naturally, we'll realize our connection with Krishna. Thank you.
Also, Prabhuji, like how Prithu Maharaj embraces Indra.
Yeah.
The mood of cooperation.
Yes. It's an important point. Like he didn't even take any offense. Like Indra is offering time to touch the feet, and immediately he's embracing, and he's in so much happiness. Okay, thank you. Thank you all for sharing. So let's stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll continue next week. We'll see all of you next Sunday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji and Mataji. Hare